live with it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast, otherwise known as Dirty. This is episode 8. Basically, this is just a show where a bunch of people who like RPGs get together and discuss RPGs. Today, I've got my buddy Fred with me. We're gonna introduce him and kind of get into it. Some more people should be joining. I know Tough Nut said he'll be joining. Adis should be around. He was set to join. I reached out to him, and we know Mr. Pickles will be here a little bit later today. For anyone else that joins, we'll introduce them as we go. But my name is Wrath. I stream RPGs, run an RPG channel on Twitch and YouTube. You can catch all my stuff there. Those include multiple tabletop RPG games as well. I've been kind of around the RPG scene for many years. I'm a lot older than I'd like to admit. But that's me. That's who I am and what I do. Fred.
Yo, I'm Fred. I am part of a couple D&D games on Wrath's channel. I play a dwarf and a police detective, respectively. And then when I'm not with Wrath, I play some Arma stuff with a milsim group, casual milsim group. And if you're interested in that, hit me up on Wrath's Discord and we can talk.
Yeah, buddy.
Other than that, I'm chill, ready to do some drinking. It's been a long day.
Absolutely. So, I'm rocking my usual drink, my go-to. Shout it if you got it, if you know what it is. Whiskey sour. It's my go-to. I feel like I either made it really strong or I didn't add the right mixture. It just seems a lot darker today. A little bit off. I don't know. What do you got? What are you sipping on?
I have some Gentleman Jack.
Ooh, Gentleman Jack. Okay.
Double mellow Tennessee whiskey.
Let's bring it back. Classic.
With a Mountain Dew chaser, of course.
Oh, right. Of course. Interesting chaser. Why Mountain Dew?
I don't know. It just tastes right.
Hey, man. Can't argue with that.
I mean, there's no other reason other than it just tastes right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all for it, man. Well, we're back. It's been a Monday. If you guys don't know, I think these get posted on YouTube on Saturdays. Yeah, these get posted on YouTube on Saturdays, but we record them on Mondays. So you can catch these over on the live stream on twitch.tv/theofficialwrath. It's been a Monday for me. And by that I mean I have gotten literally nothing fucking done today. So my girlfriend, she has Sunday and Mondays off from work, and so Monday has kind of become a we hang out day, which means I also don't get a lot of work done on Mondays. Which is twofold, because on the one hand I have a day job and stuff that I need to, go and do, which is all perfectly fine. I'm able to get some of that done, like my paperwork and stuff, which is a good paperwork day. But the other side of it is my stream and all that. And so like I literally just finished processing and uploading the videos of Strange Shine and Golden Rage and the Under the Table to YouTube. One of them is actually still up. Two of them, they're both still uploading right now. So that was kind of a last minute. I'm just getting to it. So I hear you. I mean, it sounds like you've had a day too. But yeah, definitely a good day to drink. What do you got going on?
I had to go chase down my truck today because it's been in the body shop for 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
The story behind that is I was going home from work and somebody ran a stop sign and I hit them. So, and on top of that, they didn't have any insurance.
Oh, fuck. And they pulled that on you?
Yep, they just ran the stop sign like at 30 miles an hour and I hit them going 40 and yeah.
You didn't have a stop, they did.
Right.
I was like, man, you went from 0 to 40 at that stop sign real quick.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I tried to stop and blew a brake line trying to stop.
Oh, shit, yeah. Fuck, yeah, because, at that point, you could see him coming. You're like, I know you're going too fast. Like, there's no way you're stopping at this.
Out of the corner of my eye, right before he impacted, I slammed on the brakes, blew a brake line, and, yeah, well destroyed their rear axle.
Oh, so you kind of T-boned them at the back end?
Yeah.
And they, of course, they didn't have insurance. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that's way more common than it should be. I feel like a lot of, like, everyone I talk to who's been in an accident, they're like, yeah, and they didn't have insurance. I'm like, how the fuck
imagine why. Imagine why they don't have insurance.
Yeah.
Probably because they constantly get hit.
Yeah, and they're driving, speeding through stop signs and stuff. That insurance price is going to be skyrocketed. I was so mad. I put new insurance on my motorcycle, and it's like, do you have any tickets or any wrecks or anything? I was like, no, I haven't had anything. Like I haven't, I haven't had anything in forever, as long as I can remember. So I was like, no, and I submitted it, and it's like, oh wait, you've been dinged for 3 things. So it was like, I got a speeding ticket for going 4 miles over the speed limit. True story. I was pulling into my own apartment. This is in Colorado. Pulling into my own apartment, and I got busted for apparently going 4 miles over the speed limit. I was like, I didn't even know you could get a ticket for that. I was like, he's like, are you gonna argue it? I was like, no, I was probably going 4 miles over the speed limit. Like that. I didn't know that was bad.
I didn't know this parking lot had a speed limit.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know I would get a ticket for that. But yeah, I had that. I had I can't remember what else, but I remember that like popped up, and I was like, you gotta be. So now my insurance is higher because fuck me. Thanks a lot, cop. that made me pretty mad, but yeah, it is what it is.
It's kind of a stupid reason to get pulled over.
Yeah, I was like, man, you must be trying to hit a quota or something. He's like, no, I'm not. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, just give me the fucking ticket. But anyways, let's talk. I think with you here, we've got a couple of different games that I want to talk about. But with you here, let's start with King's Crossing.
All right.
I would start with Strange Town of Golden Ridge, but we might, depending on time, we might get to that when Pickles joins. So let's talk Strange Town Golden, or I just said that. Let's talk King's Crossing. So your group, you come from what I call the first saga. Just so that I can organize it in the first and second saga, depending on because I run 2 groups through this not Savage Worlds, Zweihander campaign. And so your group, I call the first saga. You've been rolling with Mr. Pickles as Grunkle, a little bit of Shifty as Wilfer, who is planning on making a return. You guys picked up, yeah, he is planning on making a return. He wants to rejoin your guys' group. He just got caught up. He had some mental health stuff going on and school and stuff, so he bowed out, but he's coming back. You guys picked up a friend, Alexios the Minstrel, and you play Torvekic. Your group is coming back in action real soon, I hear. Within a month, I think you guys will be back in action, right?
Something like that, yeah.
What were your thoughts on our game previously? Like the campaign, how you're somewhat, I don't want to say you're new to D&D games as a whole, but you're relatively new, if I remember right, which surprised me. I thought you had been at this for like a long time, but I think I remember at one point you told us you were relatively new.
I'm relatively new. I've had a couple startup games that never went anywhere. So, I mean, that was a thing. But I wouldn't say I'm completely new.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said,
relatively. Okay.
Relatively.
So, I mean, I know it's my campaign, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or like, make you.
Oh, my internet's dying.
Oh, are you coming back? Well, while your internet dies, let's go ahead and introduce the face of the stream here, the prettiest man himself. Adis, tell us who you are and what you do. And welcome in.
Howdy. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Adis. I am a part of a couple of different campaigns here on the channel. I got King's Crossing. I'm also a part of the Baldur's Gate 3 Let's Play that we got going on with Wrath and Tough.
Back this week, yeah.
Coming back this week. And then we got a not streamed IRL tabletop campaign that we're doing with Tough Nuts and I with a group of friends that we got over here. So, and we give updates on that when we have sessions.
Yeah. Did you guys have a session yesterday?
No, we did not.
Okay.
And we're probably going to have to cancel for Mother's Day next week. So.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
We might have to cancel for Mother's Day too. I didn't think about that.
Ooh,
Fair point. Yeah. We'll ask Pickles about that today. Because thank you for reminding me.
of course.
His internet was dying. He'll be back.
Gotcha.
Okay. Cool. What's your drink of choice for today?
Hey,
My drink of choice.
welcome
Oh,
back.
hello there.
hello.
So my drink of choice today is Shield Egg.
Oh, Shield Egg. Okay, it's a single malt. Okay.
Yep, single malt Scotch.
Classic
and
Scotch
this one-
whiskey. I could have called that, man. If your Deese is
Yep.
coming in, it's probably a Scotch. It could be something different, but it's probably a Scotch.
Yeah, it's 90. I'd say probably about no, maybe about 80% of the time
I
it's a
can see
Scotch.
that. And it's worth. I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a 12-year-old Scotch. It's finished in a rum cask, so it has a very unique, like kind of sweet pineapple-y almost flavor to it. So, yeah.
I need you and probably Tough Nuts to get on like a spreadsheet, like a shared spreadsheet, and just start giving me stuff that I need to get. all these, like, yeah, because I don't know. Like when I go to buy, I'm like, I'm not a pro, and I don't take the time to research all this stuff, and like I don't have friends nearby who can be like, oh yeah, try this, like try this. So I'm like, just here's a whiskey sour. Like I'll just get that because I know it. So that would really help if you guys put something together like that. And
Oh, we can set you up.
yeah, boy. See, that's why it helps to have friends. So we're talking. We're launching this off with a little bit of discussion on King's Crossing, which is something you're both somewhat familiar with in different ways. We have First Saga and Second Saga here. I was talking about. I've labeled them that respectively, just so I can help organize my own thoughts. Okay, First Saga deals with the first group that was in it, which features Mr. Pickles as Grunkle, Fred here as Torvekik, Shifty as Wilfer. The second saga is Adise here as Adarag, and then Tough Nuts, who will be joining here in a little bit, as Nimward. So it's a growing campaign. I've got 5 players in it now, just separated on 2 different days. And I was curious, actually, this is a good question for both of you. I hadn't even gotten to my question yet. So Fred's coming into this relatively new, a little bit more experienced than Adise here. Adise, you're very new to sitting down and actually engaging in a tabletop RPG.
Yep.
So overall, what are your guys' general thoughts on what you've gotten to experience so far from, we'll bring it to King's Crossing. And obviously don't shit all over my campaign, but I mean, is he holding up to your guys' standards? Is there more you would like to see from it? Things you really like about it, or things you're like, oh, I'd like to see more of this, or I haven't seen this yet, but I'm hoping to see this. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on that? Now it's open to the table.
I don't really have any expectations, really, just because, you know, I am relatively new to the stuff. I'm kind of just here for the ride, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. But are you having fun?
Yes, I'm having fun with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I go into that, Adise, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say that I've had a fantastic experience, like getting tossed into gameplay. Now I'm a part of 3 different campaigns within a matter of 2 months. So we went pedal to the floorboard.
What's your third?
The third is going to be the one that we're doing here on this stream.
Oh shit! Yeah. That's a little mini series coming up at the end of the episode. Surprise, surprise. We already talked about it. It's not like a spoiler.
No,
yeah. Okay. So my question is, I had it. You were talking, Fred. There was something you said, and Fred's group got totally screwed. And Fred, have you been here when I've talked about this? In King's Crossing, the first saga, you guys got totally screwed because I botched both your combats. You guys had 2 main combats that you went through, and I botched both of them just because I wasn't super familiar with the rules that we were looking up on the spot. We were looking at the wrong sections, and Fred, you actually helped me out at one point. You gave me rules for minions, the little underlings. And then when I went to their group and I was doing something, I tried to find those rules again and I couldn't find them. And I was like, no, I need Fred. He got me these last time. But the last time you gave them to me, I used them on the wrong enemies who weren't supposed to be underlings, and then didn't use them on the enemies that were supposed to be underlings. So your group got totally screwed. I've told Adis and Tough Nuts about this. Like, one of them has a shattered leg, like the other one has a completely immobilized arm. Like, they got so fucked in their combats, and they're the combatant group. They're two highly trained warriors from different kingdoms, and their group, an engineer and a smuggler, little people, no business being in combat, won their combat easy. Which is great. I'm really excited about, because I ran the combat very successfully. We got all the rules down. It went smoothly. I don't feel like we had any big issues. I think one of you guys got hit once.
I did.
Yeah. He got hit once. Got a minor wound, no injuries. But that's it. And then we cut over to your group, the trained combatants, and you guys came back to town fucking beaten, bloody, and like, you're like, wow. Which isn't fair, because they're supposed to be like way better at this, but it's because the combats were so botched. But I have already told Pickles, I've reassured him, going into chapter 2 or whatever of your guys's, you guys are going to come out looking way better, because I've fixed the combat. And if these two were able to win a fight, you guys are going to be mopping the floors with enemies. Like,
are we still fucked?
You're still fucked, but you're going to get better. Basically, I don't want to give spoilers away, but basically, hopefully, if it goes well, or if they go along the path that I'm giving them, you know, obviously, the second group is still going, and they could mess something up. But if they succeed at everything I've given them, they're going to help your group out a lot with what they do. So going into the second chapter, like where they were able to take down one enemy, I would expect your groups out there just like throwing bodies of enemies, you know, because that's what you're supposed to be. You know, you guys are supposed to be the warriors. They're supposed to be like the thinkers, the smugglers, you know, the tactical. You guys are supposed to be the fucking hit them, you know, punch and crunch. But so what I wanted to get to with this question is like what you guys want to see from the thing. If you guys think about all the RPGs out there, or just like your favorite ones, like for instance, Assassin's Creed is personally one of my favorite RPGs out there. Mass Effect is another tried and true favorite of mine. If you guys think about your favorite RPGs, like what are, like, what's a feature or a factor in that game that you really enjoy about it? It could be, you know, a skill tree, a magic. I tried to get to this question last time and we didn't really get to it, but it could be the way combat's held, a specific enemy, like in Skyrim. I really like that you can kill the dragons and suck out their souls or whatever. And then what's something you really don't like? It could be, you know, I don't like having to bribe guards or stealth around guards and they're always spotting me, or I don't know, whatever the case may be. So you guys have anything like favorites and least favorite, most hated?
My least favorite had to do with the combat system, and if you're saying you fixed it, then that's probably a moot point now.
Okay, thanks. I didn't mean about my game. I meant about other games. Like Skyrim or like
combat
Dragon
systems.
Age or...
Combat system still.
Oh, really? In what game?
Skyrim specifically, mostly related to shooting a bow.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because you'll shoot a bow at somebody, and you took the time to get this shot perfect, aim it perfect. The arrow will be 3 inches away from their face, and then suddenly they're not there anymore. They're 3 feet to the left.
Oh, so that's more like a game bug, almost?
I don't know if it's a bug, because it happens constantly.
It's been a long time since I played Skyrim. I'm almost ashamed to admit that, but
it's a feature.
It's a feature.
Yeah, it's part of the game. It's a feature of the game. They put it in. He's got side shift abilities.
But I mean, it just like he sidesteps the arrow like he saw it coming from 3 miles away. It's like, oh, fuck, man.
I got you. Yeah, one of I would agree with that. One of mine would be an XCOM. If you guys have ever played XCOM.
Oh yeah.
Man, you'll have a 95% chance to hit someone. The animation, he'll turn.
You
look
are
the guy
this
straight
close,
in
and
the
you have
eye,
a shotgun.
and then he'll go, boom, and shoot it straight up in the air, and you're like, what are you doing? Why
How
would
did you miss that?
Why? Like 95%
You are 5
chance
feet
to
away
hit.
with a shotgun.
It's the worst. XCOM is notorious for it. It's known for it. It's the worst I've ever seen. Like, that's one that I would throw up on my top 5 most hated features of any game.
I forgot about that completely.
Oh, that you reminded me with the arrow thing. I was like, that's what it is. That's what it is. Skyrim got that from XCOM. What about you, Adis?
I'd say probably my favorite would have to be probably Witcher, actually. I know we've kind of discussed about like how multiple different things can be different, can be called an RPG, but I'd say Witcher for specifically like the power gain feature to it. Like it's not necessarily like you just level up and get stronger. You also have to think about things about the like adding certain oils to your swords or drinking certain tinctures before you go into a battle, and having a little bit of that forethought as one aspect, but then also having like your gear, the gear build matter as far as the rewards that you get from completing different challenges in the game will get you better gear, and you start to feel more powerful just from getting that getting more gear. And then also how I liked how they married the two of like, you have to be prepared for combat, but you also feel strong when you keep doing these challenging things.
I 100% agree with you. Personally, one of my favorites. I love the Witcher series. I've played it on the channel. I'm probably going to do a full another playthrough of all 3 of them at some point, just so I can get them on the YouTube channel as well. And one of my favorite things is how you have to prepare for combat. You know, okay, I'm going up against a griffin. I need to get the, I need to, before I go fight that griffin, I want to go do the quest to get the griffin oil so I can coat my sword and be prepared for this fight, blah, blah, blah. And it's 2 parts of that. One, it's what part of my character is based on for our miniseries here on the Dirty Channel. And Dirty Podcast. And 2, it's a feature that is in King's Crossing. Spoiler. You guys are perfectly able to gather components, gather stuff, and there are formulas out there. There are research and recipes to brew and concoct different oils or poisons or toxins or whatever that you could coat gear, or like, oh, I can apply this oil to my gear and it will give me a bonus. Or I can coat my sword in this and it will give me acid. Good reference to that. Adarag was about to do that before he got kicked in the face.
Yep.
It's something I never got really into, was alchemy in any game. Like even Skyrim's got alchemy.
Yeah.
It just felt so stupid for me to be, oh, what does this do? Bite. Oh, it almost kills me. That's what it does.
That's true. Where you're like, I don't know how to find out unless I just eat whatever it is and then find out. I will admit, I think Witcher is probably one of the only games I've actually gotten into alchemy.
Yeah, and that's where I was kind of going with that is, while that is by far my favorite aspect of a game, also I completely understand my least favorite part of the game is also like having to go and do a bunch of side quests and grinding things, and that's at the same, and not necessarily The Witcher, because they do it, I think, in a good storytelling fashion. Whereas other games, it's like go and find these 30 or find these like 50 gemstones in Skyrim for this thing.
Yeah, or Assassin's Creed is a big one. Go chase every feather. I'm like, no. And then I remember I was streaming it at one point, and I looked it up on my phone while I was streaming. I was like, what do I get? Because I was working hard to find every feather, and I was like, looked it up. It's like you get like a minor achievement, and that was it. Like, you didn't get shit for it. And I was like, there are like 300 feathers. Like, why would I do that? Like, no. Yeah, that's frustrating. And I mean, like I said, I listed Assassin's Creed as one of my favorite RPG series out there, and I still have issues with some of the stuff they do. Another, I was talking about my top 5 list. I don't have a list. I didn't go through and like cheat you guys. Oh, I got this full list prepared. You guys didn't do that. What? No, I'm just making this up on the fly. But another one of my top 5 things I really hate about these series is when, I don't know if this really counts, but when they rush them, like Assassin's Creed, where all of a sudden they're putting out like 3 in a year, and they're so botched and fucked that you can't even enjoy them. I remember, what was it, Brotherhood or something, where I was just falling through the floor everywhere I walked, and I was like, what is happening? Like, I can't even play this. This sucks. And all because they wanted to rush the game and get more out and, you know, make money. That pissed me off. And I don't know if that really counts as like a feature in the game, but I mean, it could apply over to TTRPGs. I mean, if you're rushing to get a campaign out, you haven't actually properly prepared it. I mean, I think it was Tough Nuts on an earlier episode who said, you know, your players will know if your DM put in the work to the session or not. You know, and it's true. I mean, if you rush a product, it's not going to have the quality that you would expect or want from that.
Like our one shot earlier.
Yeah. Tafong. Yeah, that was but that gave birth to the Dirty miniseries, skit. This is gonna be a what's the debuting today? Okay, cool. Anything else you guys like really like from a game? I always struggle with I've talked about things that I don't like. I guess I should talk about something I do like. I love when this is a tough one. I love when things build and connect. And what I'm going to reference here is not technically an RPG, but Marvel. Obviously, everyone knows the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can go back to Captain the First Avenger and see connections and foreshadowing and things that are leading up to things happening in other movies and TV series. You know, you can go all the way forward to Infinity War and see references and stuff back to it's all connected, which is awesome. That, you know, the writers did really well in that regard. So I love to see that in games as well. And one I'll reference is Witcher. Witcher does that, where they bring in characters that you'd met in like previous adventures and even like side quest characters. If you go off on a side quest, you meet a character and you're like, okay, that was a fun side quest, whatever. But then later on in the story, like that character like comes up and you're like, oh my god, I know who that is because I did that side quest. Like it actually gives it value. Like those kind of things I really latch onto. Which brings me into another point, the character creation of NPCs. If you actually put like thought and work into it, that's a big reason why I love the Mass Effect series, is because your companions, your other characters were so well built that I felt so connected to them. And like that was a great little family I had for a good chunk of my life where I got to enjoy those games. So having good, and that's one thing I'll say Skyrim fucking failed miserably on. Did you feel connected to any NPC in Skyrim? I didn't. I mean, Arena? I just, they get attacked by enemies and you're just like, get hit. I don't care. You just keep them off me.
The only ones I ever felt connected to were modded NPCs.
Yeah, so like, I mean, I didn't feel like if one of the companions, that's their name, right? Companions from the Fighters Guild.
Oh yeah.
If one of them died, it's just like, dang it. If one of my characters,
that's a shame.
If one of my characters in like Mass Effect die, like I'm reloading my save, and like I'm like, that's not happening.
Shame.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's a big thing. The other one, and I just thought of this when I mentioned it, character creation. Some games have some really good character creation, and it really will make the game for me. Where I launch up the game, like it's a joke on my channel where I'll launch up a game and I'll spend a good like hour, a good chunk of the stream trying to make my character because I want to make a good character and like get connected to him and everything. I think Baldur's Gate 3, I've made my character like 3 times now. You know, like
Third time's a charm.
character creation is a really important aspect to me, and it really sets the tone of a game. If you have great character creation, like it doesn't guarantee it's going to be a good game, but it gives you hope. Like it sets you on the right path. Whereas if I go into a game and it's like you have 3 faces to choose from, like pre-generated, and that's it, and like that's all I have, and I get to give them a name, and I'm like, cool. Or the worst is when there's no character creation and you've got a pre-generated character. That can work, but it also, I feel like you're never gonna get the level of immersion and connection I would get from making my own character. Assassin's Creed is a great reference. You don't make your own character. You can choose, and there's like some character like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You can choose male or female. You can give them like different little hairstyles and stuff. But that's your character. You have Ezio Auditore. You have whatever the other people's names are. I can't remember. Like that's it. And there's a Star Wars game that came out. I referenced this on a stream a while back. Star Wars game came out. There's 2 of them now. They just released the second one where you play as this Jedi named Cal something. You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Okay, the redheaded dude. And as a redheaded dude, I find that character ugly as fuck, and I'm like, I don't want to play him. You know, I'm like, I don't want to play this guy. Like, I want to play someone cool. And I see that, and I'm like, I'm not interested in playing that game because I don't want to run around as that ugly motherfucker. Like, you know. And I've watched YouTube, like people playing it, and I'm like, you know, it looks like a pretty good game. I mean, it's Star Wars and it's an RPG, and it sounds like something I would enjoy, but I don't want to run around as that dude, so I'm not gonna get it. Like, it can make or break a game for me personally. What about you guys? What do you think? Am I off my rocker here? Am I being a bit too I don't know, extremist or like?
No, I think having good NPCs or followers or whatever you want to call them is good to have in a game, and it'll make or break it depending on how it's played and how the game's set up. But something like Mass Effect, yeah. Something like Skyrim is kind of iffy depending on if you actually use followers. Because some people just go solo and it doesn't affect them at all. You know what I mean?
That's what I did when I played. I didn't really have anyone following me around because then you always had to watch for them, or they get stuck, or you turn around, they're just gone. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're doing with them, it really depends. Because I mean, some games can live without them, some games can't.
What about you, Adias? How do you feel about character creation?
Well, I will say that I grew up on some of the games like Far Cry where you don't really have a character creation. You have the preset character. But I do appreciate when I can spend some time and like go through, all right, what do I want this character to look like? What do I want here's the personality I want to go with, and here's how I'm going to play the game. What would that person look like in this world? I do enjoy that aspect of it, and I think, yeah, when it comes to NPCs, I think the older games did a better job of incorporating them. Nowadays, they are just kind of like these grab a side quest from this person. They're just quest hubs, essentially. And I think that the reason why we've gone that direction is because we've kind of gone with the larger, more open world. They found that people like that a lot more, and that's a lot more difficult to go and spend like weeks of production on a game just to build this character out in the boonies that nobody's ever going to talk to.
That's true. They don't have Marvel budgets, and you know.
Yeah, I think that's where kind of some of this is stemming from. At least
that's true. Far Cry's a good reference. I mean, like you said, you get a pre-generated character and you go in. Guess a game that I never really got into and played.
Yeah,
Far Cry. Maybe that's why. It's very possible. There are games out there that I would really enjoy, like the Ghost Recon series. Have either of you guys played those?
I played Wildlands.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan. It was really, really arcadey. Like really, really arcadey.
But the
Which kind of
idea, the concept of it had a lot of promise, right?
yeah, it just threw me off with it being like it was.
Yeah. So a game where you and your buddies get to play mercenaries or get to play like soldiers, and it's not Call of Duty, it's more Skyrim but built for like military people, right?
Mhm.
I thought that was amazing. I was like, yo, this game's gonna blow up. Like, I'm gonna enjoy the fuck out of it. Like, I'm gonna get friends to play with me. And they've came out with a couple. There was Wildlands and Ghost Recon or something, or Breakpoint or something.
Breakpoint, yeah.
Yeah.
Breakpoint was even more arcadey than Wildlands was.
Yeah, and I got into it and I was like, this isn't good. And I tried to play with friends and it was very buggy. I had a lot of issues with bugs and stuff to where we were having so much problems, like even playing it, that I was like, I'm not even gonna bother. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of games out there that have a lot of promise and a lot of possibility, but then they skimp on important stuff, like you said. I mean, they didn't put work into the side quests and the side characters who really don't matter in the long run, and so then when you go to play it, you're like, this is kind of fucking pointless. Like, why do I go collect all these feathers? Why do I go help this guy out in the boonies if it really doesn't matter in the end? And that goes back to the players are gonna realize if the DM hasn't put the work into the game, same idea, same concept. I've got some questions here for DMs, which obviously neither of you currently are. So let me ask you, get this. Do you guys have any questions, thoughts, anything that's come up through all of our games? King's Crossing, Mines of Phandelver, Strange Town of Golden Ridge, anything that you've noticed or seen, or your other games that you had questions about, had thoughts about?
Here's a question. So I'm realizing that a lot of the tabletop RPGs that I used to watch, like Critical Role, Dimension 20, Drunks and Dragons, a couple of those other ones, they all seemed like they had much higher success rates on their rolls. And I'm starting to think they probably were starting from higher level characters than what we currently are
they
starting
definitely
at.
are.
So
It's very common to start at level 3 referencing D&D.
Mhm.
I know that.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm noticing in my experience coming in was I was expecting it to be kind of like, even though most things are going to be kind of successful, if I'm proficient in that area, I'm going to be successful in most of those. That's not been the case most of the time for what we've been from what I've experienced now, and I mean, not a bad thing, but I was wondering what.
There's also
To
some
those,
days where you just have really good rolls.
yeah. But I was wondering from some people who have played a little bit more than I have, what are some tips that you might have for a new player coming in on how to play off the failures? Like, yeah, I'm losing. Yeah, I failed this roll, but how should I play that off story-wise?
Before I go in, Fred, do you have a thought on that?
It really depends on the failure and how bad a failure it is.
That's true. We call it tiers of success or tiers of failure. If you fail miserably versus if you fail by like 1.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends. Like, I mean, if you fail like slightly at doing something, like you just miss it, you can pretend like or play it like you just barely missed something. Like if you're shooting at something, you can pretend like it went right by their ear or something, then play it off as, oh, I meant there was a warning shot, depending on how your character's supposed to be asking, how they're supposed to be acting. Like if it's a cocky character, that was your one warning shot. If it's a character that normally hits what he's shooting at, it's like, damn, I missed. that sort of stuff.
And you can even go further, like, oh, that was a warning shot. Can I roll and intimidate and see if I can twist that to be
Right.
like a intimidating thing? And your DM will be like, yeah, that's a great idea, And I agree. I mean, if you fail by a mile, it's like, okay, like, and I would start this off by saying it's twofold. Your DM can help, like, with some of the storytelling, and you can help with some of the storytelling. So there's instances where, as a DM, I will run it as, okay, you critically failed. But I also have to think of your characters. So, for instance, we'll take Korvekik, a seasoned warrior from the Dwarven stronghold, right? He's not just going to be out there, like, throws weapon away. Like, even though he critically succeeded, that's just not something his character would do. And that would look really bad on his character because he critically failed. Now he does that? Like, oh no! Like, it just doesn't make sense. So me as a DM, I wouldn't make him do, like, if he critically failed, I'll be like, you go to swing at the creature, like, trips you. Even though the creature didn't have to roll for it, you got tripped. You stayed on your feet, but you missed your attack. And so that way, you're not really taking any penalties. They didn't get a free attack on you or anything, but you still critically failed. Like, you got tripped up by this creature. Like, yeah, that's a little embarrassing, but it still plays into the role of combat, and it didn't make you look like a fool because your character's a seasoned warrior. You shouldn't be. Now, if his character went on stage at a performance and critically failed, he might look like a fool because he's not trained for that. He's not proficient in it. So that's where on the DM side, they would play it to their strengths. If he's very proficient in combat, I'm not going to have him do some dumb shit in combat because his character just wouldn't do that. And meanwhile, if you're playing Adarag, who is a smuggler, if you're like, oh, I want to pull out a sniper and use it as a minigun and I'm going to be like, you critically failed. That doesn't fucking work. Like, you don't know what you're doing, and you jam around, and it blows up in your face. Like, that's how that works. But if you critically fail at smuggling, I'll be like, yeah, but you know what the fuck you're doing. Like, you wouldn't do some dumb shit and be like, oh, cops, don't look in this door that I've clearly labeled smuggling. Like, your character might do that because you tell everyone you're a smuggler.
I am like, a bit of a dumbass.
He walks up and goes, hi, I'm Adareg, smuggler.
Smuggler by trade.
You do what now? Just ignore that last part.
Nimward's standing next to him going, what?
Stop it! You're making us look bad.
That's great. Especially when he failed smuggling. And Nimward's like, no, you're not. You're not a smuggler.
You're not a smuggler.
You suck at this.
That's funny. Yeah, and then on the other side, the player side, so like Fred was saying, play it off as best you can. Like, if you're trying to persuade someone or intimidate someone, we'll say I'm trying to intimidate an NPC played by Fred. So I'm talking to Fred, and I'm like, oh, I roll intimidate. What I'll do as a DM is I want them to say what they're gonna say before they roll. So that way it doesn't affect, like, they could say something really cool. But if a player rolls and gets like a 1, then they'll be like, oh, I say, blah, blah, blah. No, you wouldn't say it. Like, say what you want to say and then roll. So that way we can get a feel for how they perceive it. And so I'm like, well, if you don't move out my way, like, I'm going to throat punch you till your kids can't speak or something, some kind of insult. To where, okay, then I roll and I get a 1, and he's like, bitch, I'm not having kids. Try again. Like, or something to where it's like, oh, okay, I still said something cool, but it didn't work. Like, it didn't affect him or whatever the case may be. Or he's like, I'm a cop. You can't threaten me. You're going to go sit in jail for a bit. I'm like, oh, dang it. Like,
oh, man.
Yeah. So that's another way. Like, I would do whatever you're going to do, then roll. So that way it doesn't totally, like, you don't have to play it off at that point. You did what you did, you rolled, it didn't work. Leave it to the DM to be like, okay, how did they perceive it to where it didn't work? Or like, that's for communication, but like you said, in combat, like, okay, I go to shoot my gun, I roll, I fail by, we'll say, a lot. how would I play that off? Because obviously, if I'm playing a sniper character and I go to snipe someone and I fail by a lot, my guy didn't just go, whoop, what sniper rifle? Like, that, he wouldn't do that. So it's like, okay, I critically failed. I did terrible. What happens? Okay, maybe it just jammed and I have to spend a quick action to unjam it. Like, that would make sense. Or the round goes off and, it sends, and at the last second the person ducks down to pick something up that they dropped, and the round goes through a lantern, it shatters, and now they're all alarmed. That would make sense for a critical fail. Rather than me throwing my weapon. That's one thing that I made a lot of mistakes on when I first started DMing, because it's funny. They're like, oh, you go to swing your axe and you lose the grip and it flies away, and it's like, would Torvekik just throw his axe? No, that's his weapon. Like, he needs that. And he's a trained warrior who knows how to hold on to a weapon. Doesn't make sense. So that's one thing that I would advise. Go ahead.
For Torvekik specifically, that's not that would be like completely out of his character, especially since he's fought in the tunnels with.
Precisely. So if I, as a DM, you swing your axe and you fail, and I'm like, oh, you throw your axe at Grunkle, you'd probably be a little upset. Like, why would I do that? Like,
why? How did I suddenly lose the grip on my axe?
yeah.
I mean,
like, that wouldn't happen.
Like, it'd be the same thing like if you were fighting in the tunnels and then you've critically failed and you slam it against a wall in the tunnels. It's like, no, he wouldn't. He's a tunnel fighter specifically. You know, I could see him getting caught in a tree branch or something just because he doesn't. He doesn't have the spatial awareness that high up. You know.
Or, I mean? For example, Adarag fails. He could go to swing a sword and hit the side of the wall and be like, ah, dang it. But he's not used to fighting in a tunnel, so that would make sense. Whereas Torvekik would know what the fuck he's doing. Be like, no, like, I know to choke up and not hit the side of the wall. I know where the wall's at. So that's a big thing, is just having it twofold. One, saying what you want to do and planning it out before you roll. Then do the roll to see how well your plan works. And then playing it off in a reasonable way.
You can also get around that. Sorry.
No, you're good. Oh, I was just going to say with what the DM injects. So basically, say what you want to say to its entirety, then roll. The DM have a good DM who knows your character and isn't going to screw you. Oh, you drop your pants and do the helicopter. Like, no, my character doesn't. Like, why would he do that? Like, we're in combat. Well, my character might, but, normal people would. So have a DM who will work with you. Yeah, have a DM who will work with you and give you something to go off of, and then you roll with that and keep the story going. Go ahead, Fred. You had some.
Something else you can do is when you're doing stuff like that, don't put your character in a position to be able to fail at something, or not really. Don't give your character a reason to do something he's not good at if it's not something he would do. Of course, there's the points where you have to do this because it's something that, due to the situation, you have to do. But if it's something your character's not good at, but somebody else is, don't put your character in a situation where he has to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, essentially like play to your strengths sort of thing.
Right. So then you don't have the weird situation where you roll a 1 and the DM's got to think up of something that's believable, but also punishes you for the natural 1. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully it answers some of your question.
It does. Yep. Yeah, because that's just it. Is I feel like there's some points in time where I say what I want to do, I then roll for it, doesn't work, and I just don't play it off at all. And I think that is something that I could work on as a player.
Yeah, I mean, we can all grow. And really, it's going to come with time and experience and just playing multiple characters and playing through games, and you learn a little bit about, But I'd say the biggest thing is, as a player, know your character. What would my character do in this instance? So, for instance, I'm playing a sniper. We'll go with this analogy. I'm playing a sniper, and I go to take a shot, and my sniper fails. I roll terrible, and my DM says, okay, you shot, and we'll say it's the example of the person ducked, and it hit the lantern, and the lantern shattered, and now they're all alarmed. Okay, my character, now granted that's a critical fail, how would my character react? Okay, I'm going to play that off by, I'm going to pack up and move. Like, yes, I have to sacrifice my next turn, I have to sacrifice the sniper spot that I got into, but I critically failed. Like, I have to own that, and I have to play off of it. So my character is going to get the fuck out of there, because now they can trace that shot back, and I need to move into a better position that isn't given away.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I have to sacrifice my next turn. I have to do movement. I have to hopefully not get caught while moving. Like, yeah, it's not good for my character, but I'm playing off my critical fail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also times where I'm trying to think of a reference, because this happened not too long ago, but where you're playing a character and you're in a game, and I think it was in Strange Town and Golden Ridge. Like, I mean, we could give the most recent episode of Strange Town and Golden Ridge, spoilers. We came to a point where you could either go into a mine or follow these tracks of these people down a path. And we basically decided we're going to split up. I'm going to go into the mine. His character is going to follow the tracks. We both looked at each other and we're like, this is the dumbest idea. Like, we're probably both going to die doing this. But
we don't have a choice.
Yeah, it was what our characters would do. Us as players, we're like, we shouldn't split up the party. We're in a paranormal campaign where ghosts and shit are attacking us. Like, we shouldn't split up. But our characters are like, okay, we need to investigate that. We need to investigate that. Let's split up, hit 2 birds, 1 stone. But we both looked at each other and we're like, yeah, Pickles, our DM, we're like, Pickles, we know this is dumb. We know this is a bad idea.
We are very much aware.
But we're going to do it. And so that's a point where, know your character. What would your character do? Sometimes it might not be the best thing for the party as a whole, but it's what my character would do. And I feel like that adds so much character growth and like immersion into the game for everyone. Because like if Fred is playing his character and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, my character is going to back up his character through everything and like have his back 100%. He'd probably be like, why? What the fuck? Because that's not
what's going on.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing? Because it's not what my character would do. It'd break that immersion. It's not. But I, as a player, know it's better for us to stick together and we'll be better off if I do that. But it's not how my character would react. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So know your character and react, just be them. I mean, it sounds lame, but roleplay. I mean, you're that character, I think I heard a rumor that you showed up to your game in full cosplay.
I did.
Yeah.
Nice. Respect.
So I'm talking to the wrong person here. You should be teaching me about getting into your character. I would love one day for us to all show up to like this as our characters. Like you show up as, I don't know, whoever. You could be your character from Fandover, or show up as Adarag. You show up as Fred or Torvekic, and I'll come in.
I'm gonna go order
Travis
me a trench coat off Amazon now.
Yeah, like I think that would be cool. Like one day we show up, and what's funny is I always laughed at cosplayers. I always thought it was kind of dumb and a waste of money. I was like, yeah, I get it, but it's a little weird. Like it's a little weird. And I went to a cosplay thing once. I was in town. My buddy was going. He had friends who were going, and so I was like, fuck it, I'll go. I went, and I was like, okay, like yeah, it's pretty weird. Like it's pretty weird.
I've always wanted to go to a Comic-Con, but just never have.
I've gone to 2. Yeah.
It was people standing around doing their little poses from the game, thinking they're all cool, and I'm just looking at them. I was like, I mean, you had nothing better to do on a Saturday? Like, stand like this? Like, all right.
So what I want to see is like some of the UNSC cosplay stuff. You know what I mean?
That's
like the
Halo,
ODSTs ODSTs walking around, that sort of stuff.
I saw a video. Tell me if you guys have seen this. I saw a video of someone going through the like college graduation or high school graduation, and they're like calling out names, and then like Master Chief or something, and the Halo character walks on like full cosplay, like walks up, and it was great cosplay. They were huge. They walked on and like got their diploma, and I was like, all right, that's kind of badass.
That's
like I'll admit that's
the
pretty
thing.
good.
Yeah, I think the people that really like put their all into it and they make those amazing costumes, all the respect to those guys.
It seems like a lot of work.
It is. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of those people make those themselves, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
That's crazy. That's good talent, so I give them shout outs for that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
but,
there's
yeah,
a lot of super cringy ones out there that I'm like,
yes. Yeah.
that ain't it,
I
bro.
mean, that's yeah, that ain't it, man. But that's the whole thing with I mean, even the one that I wore to our first session, it was literally just I printed out the emblem of my god patron of my god, put it on my graduation robes, and then put on a little my MMA helmet.
It showed up in that. I mean, if it works, it works. I mean,
Hey, it works.
obviously, you're going to your first little D&D game. You're not going to spend $700 or whatever.
Exactly.
I don't know how much these
I
things
am
cost.
disinvested in this D&D game.
Yeah, like
I have disinvested. I bought a $3,000 helm.
yeah, and then
I
watch
am
the-
here for this.
After 3 sessions, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna change characters and like change the game," and you're like, "I spent thousands of dollars." I couldn't even imagine. I'd lose my shit. I would feel so bad as a DM if somebody showed up and they're like in full costume and like, "Yeah, I bought all of this for that," and I'm like, I really hope this game is as good as you think it's going to be. Like,
I really hope that you get all of the things you want out of this, because
Yeah.
that's
that's
boy.
some commitment right there. But a lot of people do it, and I'll see a lot of stuff on Twitch where people stream these games and people show up in like their little costumes and stuff. And on the one hand, I'm like, God, that looks so cringe. Like, it really does. Well,
And then on the
like,
other hand, the
kinda get it.
dedication.
Yeah, it would be cool to have players who were that committed to a game. Like, if I had players who were that committed to one of my campaigns, like, I'd feel so great as a DM. But as a viewer, like, watching someone else, I'm just like, God, you all look really dumb. But okay, like, they're having fun. Like, whatever. Like, they're not affecting me. I don't need to judge them and be, like, offended. But I can still have an opinion that y'all look really silly. Like...
Y'all look stupid.
That'll have to be our King's Crossing crossover episode where the two parties meet.
We all show up in costume when the two parties
We
meet.
all show up. Yep.
Hang on, I'm looking for.
I'm gonna be mad if y'all do that and don't tell me, and then I come in and I'm like, "Hey, we have a crossover episode. First and second saga are joining together. I got all 5 players at the table, and then I open up cams and you're all in costume." I'm gonna be like, "What the fuck?" I'm over here in my gym clothes, like,
Oh, I have found a trench coat and it looks awesome.
Maybe we'll have to do that for Pickles since he isn't here. We'll show up to Strangetown Golden Ridge in like, I'll get
Dusters.
like a. Yeah, well, he's a detective for the police. He wears a trench coat. My guy is a bail bonds recovery agent, which is just basically a modern day bounty hunter. And he wears like a gray hoodie with like his badge, like on the chain thing, like a cop or whatever. But it's just a bail bonds badge. I'm pretty sure I could get. I mean, that would be easy. A gray hoodie and a badge. They gotta have those at like the Halloween stores or whatever. Like.
Oh yeah.
I mean, granted, it's what, May? It's probably not a whole lot of Halloween stores out right now, but Amazon.
But they're cheap.
Shout
at this
out to
point
our
in time.
sponsor. Just kidding. Can you imagine? I know there's
Bezos, give me money.
yeah, there's Twitch streamers out there who are sponsored by like Red Bull and Monster and all this stuff. Can you imagine if I just came on here and there's a little Amazon emblem like on the side and I'm like, "What up, bitches?"
What up?
I don't think they'll sponsor me if I cuss, so that's a problem. Whoops.
Yeah. Oops.
There's like, people can't like smoke weed or, do anything because it hurts the brand. Like if they're sponsoring this stream and then you're in here like smoking weed or something, like they can't have that.
Yeah.
So I found one that's relatively cheap.
This is a thing. It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening
It's
now.
happening now. It's like $30.
Did you gotta wear a hat or anything? Like you gotta have more than just a trench coat, right? It's like a tan trench coat or something, right?
Yeah, it's a tan trench coat.
Yeah, more than that. What else is your character known for? You just gotta show up with a gun. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. He comes on stream, he's like, "I'm here as my character." We're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
Calm it down a little bit, bud. Okay, so is it like a fedora?
Yeah, I think your character
Is that
has
what-
he's like the classic like 1920s detective.
1920s, like film noir sort
What's
of.
your-
Yeah.
Your character from the one shot, the half orc, 1920s half orc or whatever Pickles called it.
Oh yeah. Vitamin.
Yeah, he's him, but a human.
What's that hat?
No, mine has
called?
the
Is it a
greaser,
fedora?
slick
so
back
funny.
hair.
Are you,
just-
talking about? I can only think of a fedora would be the best one. The other one would be like a bowler cap, but I think fedora.
No,
would
the
fit
other one's
better.
the weird atrophan thing.
I don't know what that
Yeah,
is.
it's a fedora.
Mhm.
That was so funny, your character. I mean, even Pickles complimented it. He's like, you know what? You picked an archetype or whatever, and you stuck with it the whole time. Daddy-o.
Daddy-o.
there's detective costumes, and it's just like a plastic pipe, a magnifying glass, and the weird hat.
I'll be honest. I would laugh so hard if you came on in one of those with your little plastic pipe that like blows bubbles or something. You're
just the ruffled bow tie.
Shh, everybody, shh.
Oh, what the heck?
No, this is actually something I know I joke about that stuff and be like, oh, we'll talk later. This is actually something we need to save and not talk about.
Oh, what the heck?
It's gonna
Are
be
you guys
great.
hiding secrets from me?
Yeah, we're hiding secrets. Welcome in, Mr. Pickles. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. And turn on your camera if you don't mind. But you don't have to.
I was coming in here with a snack to finish, and then I was going to turn on my camera, but
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm eating.
I'm inviting you to turn on your camera, but you're not required to by any means.
Okay, just give me a moment.
I've got
then
Taco Bell, so
yeah, but my feeding right now is like right after work, so it's not something people should see. It's deeply inappropriate, wildly decadent.
Okay.
And I'm Mr. Pickles.
Look,
That sums me
you
up.
just scared Adise off camera. He's like, oh no, I'm eating too. I gotta get off camera.
No, I'm like a monster with food. It's filthy.
That's fair. All right, yeah. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, I am Mr. Pickles. You probably know me from this channel. I do the King's Crossing. I play Grunkle the Ogre Berserker on Sundays, and when I'm not doing that, I'm running the most confusing game possible because we're on the confusing episode called The Strange Town of Golden Ridge, where it's a modern horror investigation game, and people investigate weird things and try not to lose their sanity. And it's kind of like Call of Cthulhu, except the characters are not the ones losing sanity.
It's true. It's
the
the players.
Yeah, and eventually you'll go mad and start worshiping the god of many eyes or something like that. Anyways, yeah, and I'll go for it.
No, by all means, finish out.
I was just gonna say, and I also do a show called "And I Took That Personally." It's a podcast show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. If you want to hear me and my friend Brad talk about movies, that's where it's at.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, I don't know if I got an answer from you. I haven't talked to Fred about this yet. Adise, I'd like to get you in on it too. I want to start creating some commercials for our sponsors. And I took that personally. If you and Brad want to like create a little commercial that I can run during the breaks, for us, doing one for like Strange Town of Golden Ridge, doing one for King's Crossing. You could even, Fred, you could even make one for your armor unit. You know, like just record a little video so you don't have to come on here and do it every time. We would run it during breaks. I'll just run like our commercial ads. I think it'd be really cool to do something more personal, fun little project. But welcome, Mr. Pickles. What do you got? What do you got to drink today?
A mouthful of food.
That's fair.
Boy.
I'm gonna go ahead and mix
Cheap and
myself up
sleazy.
another drink. Mr. Pickles, I'm gonna bring you in on our current conversation. We were talking about, so we've had a couple discussions. I'm gonna take us back to the first one, King's Crossing. I wanted to discuss that because technically everyone here has at some point played in King's Crossing. As a whole, and I asked them as someone who has minor but some experience in RPGs, someone who has basically no experience in RPGs until now, and then someone who has more experience than even me. What are your thoughts on King's Crossing as a whole? How does it compare to other games? Is it living up to the standard? Is there things that you really enjoy about it that you'd like to point out? Is there things that you'd like to see more of, or things that you haven't even seen at all that you hope to see in the future? And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot as I'm the DM and you don't want to hurt my feelings or anything, but I'd hope that for Strange Town and Golden Ridge, like we would have the same kind of conversation for your benefit as well. And more it's for the podcast than anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I've been very candid with you about my thoughts on King's Crossing at every step of the way.
You always are, but for the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a dark fantasy game. Things are very difficult. You stray away from civilization, and stuff gets really rough. That could be in part because of the system. is a little bit geared towards brutalizing and tormenting, and like there's a scale for how like mentally well you're doing. So that should tell you what kind of game it is and why somebody picked a ogre berserker who can rest without losing mental peril, I guess they call it. Yeah, it's been difficult, but it has been fun getting to play Grunkle again and also playing alongside Fred. And I guess Shifty while he was briefly there.
Shifty is planning on making a return. I was talking about this earlier. He had to step away due to schooling and mental health stuff he had going on, but he is doing better, feeling better, and he wants to return to the game. So he is on the list to return to First Saga, your guys' group. He wanted to rejoin you guys when you guys get going again. Just a heads up.
Good,
I talked about this in Tough Nuts. Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud.
I was talking about this earlier.
Buddy.
Also, and I've talked to you about this personally, Mr. Pickles, but your guys' combat was completely botched. You guys had a way tougher go than Second Saga.
It felt brutal.
You guys came back. You guys came back with shattered legs, immobilized arms. Like one of you is just completely passed the fuck out. Whereas the second group, who's not combatants at all, won their combat no problem. And it made me feel bad because I was like, our two trained fighters got their asses kicked, whereas these two nobodies who don't know how to wield a sword had no problem. They're like, oh, okay, we got him.
The dwarf was fine.
That's true. The dwarf, he came back unscathed. Everyone else is fucked. But
yeah, one of us was tanking.
But that's not your guys' fault or your character's fault. I didn't read the rules right. We were running the wrong blah, blah, blah. We've corrected it. So I've already told Pickles this, and now I've told Fred, like going into the second chapter of your guys' session, like they dealt with one enemy, no problem. You guys should be throwing like tens of enemies, like with swings. Like it'll be great. I'm excited for it. Tough Nuts, welcome in. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yep, I am Tough Nuts. I do a lot of these things that we've been talking about. King's Crossing, I'm in that as Nimworth the Gnome. Baldur's Gate 3, doing a playthrough with Adam. Oh, I see Dusty there. Hi, Dusty. Adam and Wrath here. And then I'm DMing my own campaign on every other Sunday with a 5e campaign with a group that's in person. We don't stream it, but we talk about it.
Absolutely. And I heard from Adis, you guys didn't have a session last Sunday or yesterday.
Yeah.
And potentially next week, Pickles, I need to talk to you about this because Adis brought this up. Next week is Mother's Day. Next week is also the last episode of Strange Child Golden Ridge for this chapter. And I was like, uh-oh. And then the week after, Fred's not here. So either we take a 2-week break and then do one episode of Strange Child Golden Ridge and then back into King's Crossing, or we play on Mother's Day. I don't know. That's going to be, we'll have to figure that out. But just so you're aware, Mr. Pickles, that's something we're going to need to figure out. Adis reminded me. Thank you, Adis.
Yep. I mean, I'll be free once the game time comes around. I'll probably do something.
My mom lives on the other side of the world from me, so I'll be free.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it later. Okay. So, Tough Nuts, let me bring you into the conversation. In any game out there, any RPG, whether ones you really liked or disliked or whatever, what are some features that you really liked and what are some features you really disliked? And for reference, some of the ones we talked about is going into a game, and Pickles, we haven't gotten your feedback on this as well. Going into a game with no character creation, you have to play pre-generated character, versus going into a game where you get to generate your own character and like have a lot more connection and immersion into it. That was some of our least favorite and favorite. Another one was games where it's a chance to hit. For instance, XCOM, where you have a 95% chance to hit, and then you shoot, and your guy just shoots into the sky, and you're like, why would you do that? Like, why? What was the point? And another reference, Skyrim, you go to shoot an arrow, and all of a sudden the guy just sidesteps, and it's like, no. And you're like, why? So that was some of our references. We also talked about how NPCs, like if they really put the work into the NPCs and make them really likable and you connect with them, like Mass Effect was my reference. I love Mass Effect because you get to meet all these NPCs and really build some really strong relationships with them. Do you guys have anything that comes to mind as favorite features in some of these games, or least favorite features, or things that you hate, I should say?
One of my favorite features in a game was Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway.
Pretty sure I played that.
The squad control command system was really nice. A little bit clunky, but it was really nice.
What exactly did you like about that?
Just the fact that you had different squads you could tell to go wherever you needed them to go. You know what I mean?
You might like a game. Have we played this with him, Pickles? You might like a game called Ready or Not.
Yes,
Yeah, we
I
have.
played that with you.
Oh, we did. Okay, I feel like we should revisit that at some point. Maybe not. We keep revisiting, thinking it'll go well, and it never does.
Well, we
Hey,
played for a few rounds and it's fun, and then I'm like, I'm burnt out on this. I
That's
just
true.
want to run and gun for a little while now.
That's fair. Tough Nut said to step away. What do you think, Pickles? You got any thoughts on some favorite features or most hated features in games out there?
Well, I like where you don't have to play the main predestined character. That's always good. Which you
Yeah,
kind
we
of
share
already
that.
said.
Yeah, we share that.
But
yeah.
I would say replayability is a key one, and I think specifically of a little PlayStation 2 game that you might be familiar with. I think it's called Disgaea, Hour of Darkness.
Yeah.
They had the
I've
item
done
world
that, yeah.
function where you could just level up your specific items by going into randomly generated levels and fighting through that. So if you got bored of the story, you could just keep grinding at the game forever.
Yeah,
And
that's a good one.
that's something I like.
Replayability. I hadn't even thought about that. There are a lot of games out there that aren't really designed for replayability, like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It's a game to where you play through the story. Like, once you've played through it, you've played through it. I've probably replayed that game like 10, 15 times because I enjoyed it so much. It's not really built for replayability, but the replayability factor was so high for me personally that it worked. Whereas a game like Disgaea, you found really good replayability out of that. I didn't. But there is a feature that I think you're going to agree with me on. Let's talk RimWorld.
I'm familiar.
What feature, I mean, as someone who has played RimWorld maybe once or twice, I think you have, Pickles. Like, what are some features in RimWorld that you've enjoyed enough to put in about like 4,000 hours of gameplay?
It's something like 3,500 hours, but yeah, I just, it's something I deeply enjoy the feedback of the system. Like, you make advancements, you get some setbacks, but you figure out how to prevent those setbacks later, and then when they come up later, you can solve them. And so it's incremental success and slowly creeping on the map and building your base bigger and having different characters just doing things that you're not really in control of, but it's amusing nonetheless. Seeing who gets into fights over random things, being like, why do these two characters hate each other? And then figuring out like what's going on between them on a micro level. So it's a good mix of micro and macro level gameplay to me. And it's easy to sit back and watch things happen. It's easy to go in close and micromanage or just follow some random person. You can do like literally anything with the game. You can be like, you know what? I hate this guy, but he's got good skills. I'm going to recruit him, but you never get to sleep. You're going to do cocaine in random intervals and never ever sleep. How long till you break? And then you realize that's a viable strategy. You just get kidney damage.
So let me ask you this. Apply that over to the TTRPG world. Think of it, we'll apply it to King's Crossing. You guys have come into the town of Arwen's Rest. Say I just gave you the town of Arwen's Rest. You're in charge of it now. Your characters are in charge of Arwen's Rest, and you could do that. You could do any of that. Is that something that would relate over to TTRPG that you would enjoy, or is it something specific to I almost said Skyrim, to RimWorld, thank you. That you feel works for that game but wouldn't work outside of it?
Well, I mean, they tried to make the Pathfinder module, what was it, Kingmaker, into like a video game.
Yep.
I've never played it, so I don't know how successful they were, but that was the basic idea of the modules that you play through, is that you are building this empire and you're going on adventures with your Pathfinder characters. presuming that's exactly how the game played. But with an actual like D&D module, a Pathfinder module, I should say, there's a lot more freedom to do what you're saying is actually building your kingdom.
Yes. Yeah, so that's where if you take it to something like TTRPG, you could do all of that and so much more. And that's one of the things I love about TTRPGs is you're not limited to 4 dialogue option choices.
Yes.
You can do, I mean, it's Legos. You know, you can build and do whatever you want. Another reason why I love Legos so much.
You're held back by your GM and I guess your fellow players to an extent,
you're right.
though.
I'm always held back by my GM.
Well, I mean, it's like if you get an unimaginative
Pickles
GM.
is my GM, by the way.
Yeah. I'm gonna move you guys over here
just,
so I'm not
just
staring
wait until
outside.
they start using AI for all the chat options.
Oh, I'm gonna get replaced so quick. Nobody.
AI DM.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
it's
even
already
like
a
in
thing,
game.
isn't it?
Well, then Pickles and I could actually play in a game together.
Yeah, they're already starting to use AI for games to like make dialogue more interesting and stuff. But
Oh
I don't know,
no.
it's kind of crazy.
Isn't it? I mean, not that this isn't that type of podcast, but isn't I haven't followed it too much, but aren't there like bigwigs up there like Elon Musk and people who are like, hey, stop testing AI right now because we need to put a hold on this.
Yeah, we don't have to.
We need to
go
be
there,
able to
but-
control this before we go any farther.
I heard something about that. There was like little snippets and stuff that have been popping up of these bigwigs being like, you should put a stop on this for a little bit. And I'm like, what do you know that we don't? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Well, I watched a
Skynet
video
is
the other day where Biden shows up at an AI meeting. He's like, you guys need to be very, very careful. And it's like, yes, we know. Can you leave so we can continue our conversation? Just the look on everybody's faces. It's like everybody seems to know that AI research is dangerous. They just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I feel like they've been testing it for years, like forever. Like they've been playing around with AI. I mean, I remember when AI came out and you had the little chatbot thing so you could talk to. That was 20 years ago. You know, that was forever ago. But I feel like maybe we've reached some pinnacle of. You good, man?
Just fighting.
You're like a cat. I feel like maybe they like reached some breaking point to where they've like passed some line that they're like, oh, we've discovered something and we should stop. I don't know. This isn't a business guru high tech AI podcast, but.
Have you seen Skynet? That's how you get That's how you get Skynet.
Yeah, I feel like there's something going on out there in the world I'm not aware of, and it's a little worrisome. But I'm also, I mean, I don't think AI is gonna come after me. If AI gives me a DM, I'll be happy, I suppose.
You might find yourself surprised when the AI starts reproducing and they take over and they love your stream.
Hey, if I get viewers, I don't mind.
They're all numbers, but they're all saying really nice things to you.
Yeah,
and it's
like,
just
"Damn,
like,
I have-
wow, I guess I'm popular here.
Wrath of the AI are talking again.
I mean, like, how many people are there in the world? 6 billion? How do I have 20 billion people in my stream right now?
And all the responses are just, you are loved.
Oh, that
You
would be,
are loved.
that would
and
be
over.
I would be a little worried if I just said you are loved, blowing up my stream. I'd be like,
You are loved. You are
Yeah.
loved. You are loved.
That reminds me of the people who are like, people are
Yes!
afraid of technology, and then they just like hold a sign that says technology, and like, technology, and people are like, ah. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So Pickles, you think if you took RimWorld concept and brought it into a TTRPG like Kingmaker as an example, you think that would work for you?
Probably not.
And why is that?
The joy I get from RimWorld is sort of in a like setting up a terrarium to then watch. Like I like setting it up and then getting to the point where I don't need to touch the game at all, except when things happen. I just set it at like a medium speed and the ants move around, they're doing their things. I'm being like, yes, everybody's sleeping when they need to. Yes, they're all using the bar together at the same time because I told them to. Yes, they're getting the job done. Nope, you're not getting the job done. Tweak a little bit there. That's what I enjoy about that. It's the tweaking and eventually getting a perfect system.
I would apply
And
that to games like Starhaven is a game that I've spent a lot of time in, and Airport CEO is a game I've spent a lot of
Yeah.
time in. And that's where I would apply that. Is I get to the point where I've got schedules set up, I've got everything kind of functioning, and I'll just sit back and let the game play, and I just kind of watch for a bit, maybe have a show on the side, and I deeply enjoy it. But I've never enjoyed RimWorld. Like I've played it. I've never gotten to the point where I'm like, oh man, I really want to play RimWorld. But I'll play.
It's very punishing.
I'll play games like RimWorld, so it's weird. It works, but not. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I think one thing you have to consider too with RimWorld is you can turn off a lot of the functions if you don't want to deal with raids. If you want to just literally do something that's a lot safer, you can turn off different disasters. You can make it so you never even need to eat. It's a very user-friendly game in that sense that if you don't like functions of the game, you just turn it off.
Build it how you want it. Yeah.
But I think in like TTRPG games, I'm not really looking to sit back and not interact. I'm looking to interact, and in my interactions I usually don't seem to enjoy like leading or coming up with the plans, so to speak. Like I add stuff. I know to roll my dice and get results and different things and see what I can add to the party.
Yeah.
But never
makes sense.
captain.
Tough Nuts. You had to step away earlier, but now you're back. The question basically was features that you really like in games versus features you really hate in games.
Yeah. It's a really big question. I think my mind always goes to WoW, and that's the game I'm most familiar with, like the mechanics of the game and how they structure kind of the gameplay and all that, and the reward structure and all that. And I think the biggest mistake, like the thing that frustrates me the most, is when systems are created arbitrarily to like make things complicated, and like when content is created just for the sake of content, but there's no like reason behind it. Which I see Pickles nodding, and this
I was gonna say, I think
Pickles
Pickles has talked about this. Yeah,
he's talked about this with the context of D&D and like how he appreciates like simplicity, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with WoW. Like there's been an issue with that game for years where every expansion they try to outdo themselves and they get more and more complicated. And what they've really needed to do, and I've talked a lot about this with Adam too, is they just need to make it simple. Go back to the basics, what works. There was a reason it was one of the most successful MMOs of all time early on in its history. Like you don't need really complicated systems to reward players. Just go back to the fundamentals and people will play it. So like having a lot of agency over your character to like choose what you want to do, like if there's skill trees that make your character play different, like give them the option to use all those skills. Like I like the versatility and having the agency to do that versus being forced to like oh, I can only switch once a week or something. It's like, why? I just want to play the game and have fun. So I don't know. I think I went into what I don't like, and I guess the summary there is just I don't like needless complications. Like just keep it simple.
Yeah, and we've already discussed how that could, like you mentioned, play into a TTRPG type of system. So that's actually a really good one. That wasn't brought up yet, so good job.
Yeah.
Do you like anything about games?
Yeah,
is there anything out there
he just said make it meaningful. Essentially, is what I read from that. Is if you're going to make something, it needs to have meaning through simplicity. It should function as a part of the system on purpose rather than something you just taped on and call it the Lich's Blizzard Throne or whatever the blue one is for WoW.
But I agree that kind of goes back to one of Fred or Adis, you guys were talking about this, like a company, I think it might have been Adis, a company isn't going to spend a bunch of money to develop an NPC in the middle of nowhere that you may or may not interact with, and then you never see them again. Like, why spend all the time and energy? Was it Adis? I want to give credit where credit's due. Okay.
Yeah.
Same concept, and I gave that idea of to continue that thought. You go off on a side quest and you interact with that character, and then that character becomes valuable later on in the main mission, where you could like pull on them because you met them. It gives them value. Be like, hey, I know this person, and I could use them as a resource in this mission for the main quest because I went on that side quest and I met them, or something along those lines. It gives that character more value. And that's going back to what Pickles is saying, and now Toughnets is saying, where why create that side quest? What was the point? Would the game continue on without that side quest? Yeah. So what's the real point of that side quest? Is it just a meaningless, I just happen to wander out onto this mountain and there happened to be a guy out there who would give me a quest, but it means nothing to the story? Or you can tie it back into the story. So easy to do, really. You just tie that character or that location or something back into the story to where it all has value and makes sense that you went on that. And it's not just content for content's sake. Like, yeah, I didn't just develop this because I didn't have anything else for this session. And I'm like, oh, I just need something. Here's a treasure chest. And be like, okay, cool, thanks. And then they move on. Or it's like, hey, here's a treasure chest, but it's cursed. And it's actually cursed by this character that you guys met on this side quest in this area. And you need to track that person down. You're like, oh, we know where they might be or where they were seen last because we went on this, you know. I just came up with that on the fly, and it already kind of worked. Like, you could build off of it. And so I agree. I mean, that's where you get content for content's sake versus meaningful investment.
Yep. Yeah.
That sound right?
Yeah. As far as you asked, like, something I like in games, I'm partially driven by, like, I like rewards that people understand. And part of it's like a status thing. That's a thing with MMOs, is like, if you play enough, you start to get stuff that it used to be back in the day. Like, you'd see someone with a sword or you'd see someone with a mount, and you knew exactly what they did and how hard it was to do that. And you know, it was impressive. You could talk to them about it, and it would start a dialogue, and they could tell you like, oh yeah, like, this is how I did it. I can help you do it. You know, it created a community. And I love that with MMOs. And recently, that's kind of died too with WoW because they just give out rewards so often and so easily that it just kind of dilutes the water, I guess, and no one knows where anything comes from anymore, and nothing's really impressive because there's just, like, everyone has everything. And so, like, having a scarcity of rewards, but also, like, if it's common knowledge amongst players, like, how good something is, it feels really good to have that thing. And I like that in games when they can accomplish that.
That's actually really deep. That's a good one. And I can relate it. This happened to me today, and this isn't an RPG thing, so I don't even know if I should bring it up, but I was at the gym today, and I was working out, doing chest, and I was going at it, and eventually this guy, I won't give it his name, but this guy came over to me and was like, hey man, you seem like you've been doing this a little while. Would you mind coming over here and help me out with my exercise? Sure. Went over, helped him out, hooked him up with some stuff, you know, talked to him through some stuff, blah, blah, blah. And the way I relate that is, you know, the way I look and what I built wasn't just given to me. It wasn't just a reward that they give out freely. He could see me and recognize, okay, I know the work you put in to get there. You know, we can discuss this, blah, 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 blah. Going, you know, kind of falling in with what you're saying. Now, granted, that's not an RPG thing, but it did happen to me today, and it kind of relates. And think about it. If they were just giving out muscles and body shapes and all that to, like, there wouldn't be any value to the reward. It would be meaningless. It's just everyone has it and it's just handed out. It's it takes me back to what Pickles has said about superheroes. If everyone's a superhero, no one's a superhero.
Yeah, I did say that.
You know, yeah, you did, because we were talking about the superhero campaign. He's like, if everyone's a superhero, no one's super. And I think that's actually part of the premise of Incredibles.
Yeah, that's Syndrome.
Yeah, he's like,
That's
I'm going to give
Syndrome's line.
superpower to everyone so that way you guys aren't super anymore or something.
What a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be applied to anything.
Yeah.
Like, and even D&D, like, yeah, all over the place. It's anything.
If everyone has magical weapons, nobody has magical weapons.
Exactly.
I was just
and
gonna say, if everybody can cast spells, nobody's a wizard.
that brings me to potentially next week's topic. I want to talk about stores in TTRPGs and in RPGs in general. Stores and like what they offer and their availability, and like how do you figure out what is available at the store to not overpower a character but also give them kind of stuff that they need, but also, you know, have it balanced. Currency, how to balance how much money players have and what that means to the system, and like, you know, if they just have unlimited funds they can just buy whatever, blah blah blah. And also rewards, which takes us back to one of Tough Nut's first questions in this podcast: rewarding players and what to give players as rewards and when to give them that. Because if you give everyone a magic weapon, no one has a magic weapon.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that next episode, but now I want to break into something else. And at this point, Fred, I'm going to give you the option. Were you wanting to dip out or stick around for this?
I'll stick around and chat, but I won't be playing. If that's all right.
That's all right with you?
I don't care.
Okay.
I will add my colorful commentary.
So I'm going to pass this one off to... this is our first time doing it. We're going to dive into a mini-series here on the Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast. I'm going to... As our first time, Pickles, how would you like to... Do you want me to introduce this section and kind of talk about what we're doing, or would you like to? I guess I should talk about what we're doing, and then I can pass it off to you to tell us what we're getting into.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to dive into a mini-series, basically a quote-unquote one-shot, a D&D game, however you want to look at it, where we're going to have, basically we roll dice, we created characters, we get to roll dice to see how they interact with the world. The world is portrayed by our DM, currently going to be Mr. Pickles for this one. Our DMs may rotate as we go. We could have a couple different storylines going on, but for now, our miniseries is going to revolve around Mr. Pickles and the story he has to tell involving our characters. So I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Pickles, the DM.
Yes, I am Mr. Pickles, and this is my beer and pretzels game for Drinks and Discussions. It's using a bastardized version of Savage Worlds, which I'm calling Savage Pickles for no reason. It's really simple, and the goal was just to make it so that everybody here who says repeatedly on the podcast, I just want to roll dice and, you know, have a good time and simplicity and all that stuff. It gives you a chance to just have a good time here. So if everybody can grab their dice, you're going to need your physical dice. You're going to need your piece of paper or your notepad document or however you're saving your character sheet. You're going to need to equip your imagination. Yes. So if anybody's unfamiliar with the last episode, go watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a... This is supposed to be simple, but the basic concept is it's a system of increasing dice, and the higher your dice, the more likely you are to succeed at a roll that is generally a target of 4. If you're familiar with Savage Worlds, a lot of this will sound familiar. The party have 3 things they're good at, and 1 thing they're really bad at, a weakness, if you will. So they're going to use their occupations or their skills, the things they're good at, to try and defeat this adventure. We are running a little fantasy game here because it's not necessarily my genre, but I heard a couple people here like a little bit of a trip through the fantasy lands. So I thought, you know what? Why not try and make people happy? And so that's the story of this game. We are starting off in the warm summer of Harvest Festival in a little town called Happy Meadow. It's not really in a meadow, so I'm not sure why it's called that. It's in the middle of the woods, and there are meadows in the outskirts, I get that. But it's mostly in the woods. We talked about this last game. The big economies here are lumber, apples, and wool. Yeah, it's that kind of small fantasy town. And these 3 characters, Peculiars, Adichie, and Aslog, are our heroes of this small town. Our small town heroes. One of them came back to this small town after not being a hero in another town, but they're all here in the small town. They've done individually good things, and I guess maybe I should pass it to you guys to introduce your characters really briefly before we just roll right into things.
Can I ask real quick, the exports of this town, the main industries were furs and what else?
Lumber, apples, and wool. There's lots of sheep. Lumber, apples, wool. There's other things, but those are the big economies. And Harvest Festival is coming up. But before we get into that, how about you, Wrath? Why don't you start it out?
yeah.
Who are you playing? Then
Oh,
pass it on.
Oslog. I'm playing Oslog. Basically, think criminal henchman, private bodyguard. He was Big Bad Boss's bodyguard before criminal organization. I haven't had that much drink. Organization got shut down, and he didn't really go into hiding, but he just kind of moved on and traveled and landed here. You want me to
Yeah, I wanted you to pass it on.
Oh,
no, you can talk as much as you want. Ideally, we show, not tell, but
I have some brewer skills. So I mix drinks as my current job, and I got that skill because I am an alchemist who mixes weird potions that I ingest because I'm a mutant. Think Witcher, but D&D. I ingest potions to boost myself to go fight baddies for my boss. My boss currently being Adise. Tell us about your character.
Oh my gosh, you work for each other?
I work for Adise.
Oh.
He doesn't really acknowledge that, but
Oh.
Hello, my name is Adichie. It is a pleasure to meet you. I'm a lizard folk. I am a tinkerer by trade, but my focus is in medical devices, things to help and to heal. So that's Adichie. He's a lizard folk. He is a tinkerer by trade. He's got medical devices are like what he specializes in. Mainly because he had a wife who came under some illness, and he had to end up making her a mechanical heart. But while trying to figure out what that was, or trying to build that, he ended up running into brick wall after brick wall in the design process. And so he had to go and reach out for outside help. One of the points that he one of the people that he reached out to was the criminal organization that Oslog was a part of. And after being rejected by their boss, he ended up going a more demonic route in his search for help. And that's how he ended up making a demonic pact, which turned sour and has now and for one reason or another has caused his wife to be missing now. Maybe not fulfilling his end of the bargain, but he definitely wants to get back at his patron to be able to get her back, even though he has to rely on them for now.
In introducing his wife, Tough Nuts, tell us about your character.
There's no way.
No.
Peculiar.
But, that is peculiar. My name is Peculiars, Cinderstar, and I am a hermit that lives on the outskirts of town and in my own little hut out in the forest. And I have a loyal companion, which is a Doberman dog named Apollo. We love each other very much. And I saved the town from a forest fire, which is what I'm most known for. But people don't know me very well outside of that. They know there's some weird things about me, and I have some kind of crazy magic that I don't fully understand yet. It can be a bit unpredictable. We'll just leave it at that for now. And I've recently connected with Wrath's character. Remind me of the name again, Wrath?
My name is Oslug.
Oslug. And I've connected with him over this magic affinity that I have, and I'm sure Pickles will explore that in due time.
Well, and that's the 3 characters we have so far. Of course, if you want to join in, you can always make a character after talking to us and whatnot. It's like a half-hour process, probably. But it's easy enough. Anyways, it is the heat of the summer, and this is one of the harvest festivals, one of the early harvest festivals, because apples here, they come to harvest in the middle of summer. So that's what the town is preparing for. And that's likely why you guys are out on the road walking along the streets this day, because they're preparing for the upcoming festival. There's people getting stalls set up outside of their buildings. It's a lot of just like businesses with the house either like above the building or behind, or just people living out in the wilderness. There's farms, there's shepherds, but there's a lot of people in town today, and there's wagons crossing on the streets. I'd say there's about 2 streets, but they're quite long. They intersect at one point, and at that intersection is where you guys are at, where the main market square is, and where you're likely either passing through or trying to get to your business or setting up your own business there to sell things at a stall, or just seeing what's going on. What would be fair to say you guys are doing in this market square?
Adichie is probably just walking around, trying to be helpful where he can be, because his own tinkering shop is probably just right down the main road. So he wanted to help out around the town and kind of get them all, help whoever needs help setting up a stall to go and just be helpful around there.
Yeah, you do have a very good eye for making sure that like stalls are actually functional. These people, they don't really know how to like do carpentry in a straight line. So there's some things that you're giving them a little bit of a boost, fixing things up. How
Pulling out
about you,
right angles.
Aslog?
Aslog is making sure no one takes the head of Adishi.
Okay, so you guys are around together at least, sort of.
Yes.
Okay, and
Aslog will probably be moving, checking out stalls and stuff, but always keeping eyesight on Adichi and kind of seeing if anyone's interacting with them, talking to them and stuff, because I'm going to make sure no one takes his head off. Why anyone would take his head off, I don't know. He told me, have you told me that you're a cursed individual?
You've kind of
I know that you're cursed because you went to
Yeah.
my boss and asked for help. Oh no, that was before you got cursed.
That was before I got cursed, but I was asking for help, and you saw that I was kind of a weaker individual. But now that I've had this curse, I'm taking on a bit of a
more charisma, more
charismatic,
Yeah.
a little bit more outgoing.
So have you told me specifically that you have a pact with the devil or you're cursed in some
I have
form?
not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for my character, my inspiration to protect him, not that I feel like anyone would be coming after him, but I guess more so it'd be I'm watching for anyone that would be coming after me, and by proxy him.
Okay, that
Because
makes
my
sense.
character is a bodyguard, a right hand man. I'm not the leader. I'm not important. I'm there to make sure that important people get to do what they need to do.
That makes sense. So you guys are wandering around like that, and let's go over to peculiars, because peculiar situation for you is the joke I'm going to be making constantly. You are made of water today, which is to say you take the form of a water genasi. What that means is up to you.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, when I'm a water genasi, I think people hold me in higher regard because they associate that with the saving of the town. You know.
Yes,
so
definitely.
People like when I appear that way and recognize me because that's how I appeared that day.
That's a good omen then.
Yeah, and I think my character is. Or did you want to?
I was just going to add, you've been invited by the town to come and visit with the Harvest Festival and enjoy on like most people are willing to give you free wares, and so this is an opportunity for you to maybe get some free alcohol or get some free food, something a break from living in the wilds, if you will.
Gotcha.
It's probably a reason why you've come into town, but you are in the market square and you do see your comrades.
Yeah, so I've come to town because Aslog is mentioned that he has this boss, and he wanted to pull this group together. And because I respect him and am intrigued with his abilities, I'm interested in hearing what they have to say. So I came to town for that reason, and I think I would be stressed with this many people around, so I'm definitely like happily take the offers for alcohol, so I'm a little bit more comfortable. And I I probably I'd see them working and like helping with the stalls and stuff, so I'd probably, in order to avoid conversation, I would start helping as well, just to not have to talk to too many people.
Yeah, and how about we start the scene here? You like see them on the other side of the market square, or sort of away from you, and you're about to try and get their attention or move towards them when a very boisterous, big bearded man, very wide set and not as tall as Aslog, obviously, but he's rather tall, wide set. He pounds on his stall and says, "Hey, you, my friend! Hey, my other friends, you, come. I have the strongest apple cider here. It will destroy anybody, and I want to see if you three can handle it." He tries pointing out at like any three people, but most people like are like, "Oh no, not me, not me. Oh, you want him? You want him?"
Aslog, hold up the other end of the table, please.
Thank you so much for fixing this stall. Thank you so much.
I'll reluctantly walk over and with one arm just pick it up.
I'll
Thank
carry
you.
over some like wood supplies and nails and stuff. And
You
bring it
just
over
walk
to
away.
Aslog.
Oh, you can't take the most powerful cider in this town? Huh, thought not. Nobody come Harvest Festival will be able to do it. I bet 5 silver coins on it. Anybody who can down this and keep it down, 5 silver coins.
Ooh.
You can easily make it over though to help them out with their problem.
I was being very perceptive of the area. Do I hear this going on?
Oh yeah, you both know that you're being referenced too.
Oh, we're being referenced?
Yeah, like he's pointing loudly and like he saw you guys.
I guess I didn't understand how big the market was. I was thinking we were farther away, but
You're like 20 feet away.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll go holding up the stall and I'm like, "Boss, I need to go challenge Raindrop to a drink."
That sounds fine to me. We're done here.
I'll set the
Let us go.
cart down and I'll kind of walk over and grab Peculiars
drink
as he's
myself.
walking towards us. I'll just kind of do like wrap my arm around him to where he kind of spins around and is walking with me. Like, "What up, Raindrop?"
Is that me?
Yeah, you're Raindrop. That's you, buddy. You're made of
Hi.
water now. You're Raindrop now.
I throw my my boards on the ground next to this stall, and
I'll kick him. Oh.
What you guys both noticed is like Adichie there, the moment that the stall was lifted up, his hands move so supernaturally quick and he just fixed everything. It's like he knows exactly what he's doing. Expert carpentry.
Am I used to this kind of thing, or would this be new for me too? Seeing this.
I think everybody who's seen him knows that he's just naturally talented at tinkering, at fixing things. He's just awesome.
That makes sense.
A lizard folk, if you will. So nobody really knows if that's just part of being a lizard folk.
I'm just imagining you throwing your stuff down. Oh my god, yeah! Kick it. Stupid boards.
this gentleman here has offered some drink, and I don't particularly want to talk to people, so I figure I'll drink. Do you want to join me?
I think I would. Wait. Hey, boss.
Yes, what is it?
Drinks.
I am parched as well. Let us drink.
Yeah, we're gonna drink, Raindrop. Hey, Raindrop, meet boss. Boss, this is, Dribbles.
Pleasure to meet you, Dribbles.
The name's
I'm gonna-
Peculiars.
I let go of him and I move over.
Pleasure
the
to meet
stall.
you, Peculiars.
And how may I address you, sir?
My name is Adichie. Just Adichie.
Adichie. You're like mafia or some sort, huh?
Not of the sort.
Okay.
I'm over at the stall. I'm like, "Hey, Peculiars, that's the one I was telling you about, the Dishi."
I gotcha. Yeah, nice to meet you. Finally,
'Tis a pleasure to meet you as well.
you'll have to come visit me at my hut someday.
Oh, are you the one that lives on the outside of the village?
Yeah, this is
that's
my
me.
homeless friend.
Not homeless. I've
You're
got
not
a home.
homeless? Oh, he's got.
That-
Never mind.
It's
I believe-
modest, but it's a home.
I believe there was one point where I went and thatched your roof for you.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Thank you. It's been
Yes,
dry
yes.
ever since.
Quaint little house. I loved it. Well,
Yes,
the-
it's cozy.
The bartender interrupts you. He comes back to the stall from inside of
Oh,
his
thank
actual
God.
store. He's like, "Oh, back again! You think you could take the most powerful cider in this town? I don't think you can. Well, maybe big guy here, but even that, I doubt." As he laughs, you can see he only has like 5 teeth.
What are you offering?
5 silver if you can keep it down. You can't. I know you can't. None of you can.
see, one for each of your tooths.
Well, cider's mostly
Oh, yeah.
water, and I'm mostly water, so should be fine.
How much? Does it matter how much money I currently have?
You can roll a characteristic or skill if you want to see how much pocket change you have. Anything you'd like to roll? Your potion brewing bartender. Do you have some bartending funds in your pocket?
Money for my bartender brewing.
Go ahead and roll. Remember to add your wild die here.
Which is a
So
D6?
your bartender is a D8 and a D6, so you should be rolling 2 dice.
Okay, I got a 3 on my D6, a 7 on my D8, so 10 total. Unless it's
well,
one or the other. Is
yeah.
it one or the other?
One or the other.
Okay, then I'll
Yeah,
take
so
the
7.
7.
You have 7 silver coins on you at the moment. This is pocket change. All of your other like expenses are paid for.
Okay. I'm gonna turn around to the crowd and I'll be like, 12 silver pieces to anyone who can drink more than me.
There's a few people that are around. They're like, "Damn, no, I'm just a merchant. I can't even. Oh, I'm just a tailor. I'm like, do you see his muscles?"
I'm gonna
Somebody
grab.
says.
I'm gonna grab some of the. He's got like tankards or something out.
Yeah, he's brought 3 tankards out.
I'll hand him one to my boss and be like, "Boss,
Thank you.
welcome, new friend.
Thank you.
You're most welcome."
You guys gonna chug it down?
Here's to you, particular.
I smell it and just look at it and see if it smells like normal cider.
It smells very, very potently of alcohol.
I'd like to drink mine before Adichie gets a chance.
Okay. We'll get to that in a second.
I just gotta make sure it's not poison.
Peculiars, it smells to you like somebody just like took some apple cider, like a cheap like 3 to 4% alcohol by volume, and then added a bunch of vodka or something to it.
All right, and it's like a full grog of it.
Yep.
After
Okay.
ingesting it, would I be able to roll a brewer to like break down the components?
Uh, well, certainly. But the first thing you need to do, if you're going to be rolling this, decide what is your role to resist this heavy intoxication.
Muscle
Bartender
memory.
would be a good one.
Oh. Okay, bartender.
But you could argue the muscle if you really thought that you spent a lot of time in your criminal past drinking.
Probably hanging out at bars and think about it. 90-pound asthmatic versus a 300-pound beefcake. One of
Go
them's
for
going
it.
to be able to take more alcohol.
Go ahead and roll.
I'm gonna roll my D10 then. That's a D12. There's my D10. All right. Wow, I got a 5 and a 3. I'll take the 5.
Yep, you certainly are able to down it, and it's a very powerful shot, and you feel like the poison is definitely alcohol. But
Oh, okay.
beyond that, yeah, you feel kind of good.
I'm gonna look over to Adichie and I'll just be like nod to him, like we're good.
Cheers to you, my friend. Glug, 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 glug.
I cheers and chug it as well.
All right. What would you like to use to resist this alcohol? For either of you. If you don't pick anything, it's a D6. If you don't think anything applies.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe the only thing I could think of is I probably drink a lot out in my hut because there's not much else to do. So I probably
Survivalist?
have somewhat of a resistance. Yeah, so maybe survivalist.
Go ahead and roll survivalist.
Okay.
Remember to do the d6 as well.
I got an 8.
An 8 on your 8.
Yeah.
Then re-roll and add it to the 8.
Oh, you got exploding die.
Oh yeah, exploding dice.
Yep, exploding dice.
So exploding die, the way it works while you roll, if you get the highest number, it explodes, and you get to roll again.
The next time I got a 2.
All right, so a 10. Yeah, so you chug this down. Like it just flows into you, and I think it's probably because you're a water genasi. It like just melds into you, and you can kind of see the color fade into your overall.
He's like
Well,
a
what kind of
lava lamp.
color genasi are you? Are you like
Oh.
clear? Are you like bluish, greenish?
Yeah, bluish, like an aqua color, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle.
Well, you could definitely see the yellow amber kind of going in.
I'm mesmerized. I want to watch this lava lamp.
It's very beautiful. A little socially awkward.
I feel great. I look
but-
down and just watch it go through my body.
We're all watching. Like, whoa.
How about you, Adichie?
As a tinkerer, I'd imagine that I like to crack a cold one after a hard day's work. Either that or with like medical devices, maybe like having some medical knowledge of like how much alcohol I can consume before I get beyond the point of buzzed.
I think Tinkerer makes more sense, and also explains why somebody needed a demon pack to speed up their process.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll.
So 8 and a 6.
Your Tinkerer is a D10.
Oh, it's a D10. Oh,
Yes.
okay. So that top one is a D10. Gotcha. Okie dokie.
10, 8. Is it 10, 8, 6, 4? And then
You get
Or
a
10,
110,
8,
2 8s, and everything else is a 6, and
I
then your
couldn't read
weakness
my
is a
own
4.
handwriting. Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
8,
that's
8.
6.
6 total. Yeah, that's
total.
good enough to succeed here. The clear winner here, though, is Peculiars,
I'm mad that
who
both
just
of you did
downed
better
it
than
really
me.
easily. The rest of you, you could feel the burn, and so you're probably chugging it down, but being like, okay, didn't think this would be mostly vodka. You guys are all feeling quite warm inside, and it's also like mid-morning on a summer day. Like it's a warm, positive feeling. There are people bustling around. And that's when you notice that there are a few young children near you guys, near Adichie in particular, tugging at his coat or your shirt or whatever.
I kick
Yeah.
him.
You kick him?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish your sentence before I just act.
Yes, hello, little ones. What is it?
You could see that there are 3 very young children. Like the oldest is probably 6 or 7, and then it goes down from there. And the oldest one is like, "Excuse me, sir, we need help."
What is it?
For them,
How
the
may I
rest of
help
my
you?
drink.
No, I don't need juice. I need
This
help.
is-
First question: did we get paid our 5 silver, 3 silver, whatever it was?
The man is in awe there, being like, well, okay, hold on, I'll go back and fair is fair, fair is fair.
Okay.
He says as he's going.
I've got something I want to do, but I have to wait to get paid. So
Yeah, and the eldest kid's like, bandits came to our farm, they attacked, and we need help. They took our dad and our dog, and they had some green thing that was screaming, and Dad told us that we could come to town and get help from the heroes, and they said here.
You are very brave, little one. Now, could you describe this green thing a bit more to me?
It was like a little look kind of like you if your face is smashed and you were like all green instead of like and no tail, and it was just small and like us sized and screaming help, and then they took Daddy and they took our dog Penny.
I see. Well, little one, where is your home from here?
They point down the road. You get a clear idea that it is east.
East. Okay.
which way does the hermit live? Tough notes.
Which way does the hermit live?
I think I'm south of town
Oh,
slightly.
Yeah, you're east south of town.
All right. Continue. Sorry.
I see. Thank you, little one. Now, is everybody else okay? Are these your brothers and sisters?
Yeah, we hid and then we came to town to get help.
I see. I see. Well, you did the right thing. You are very brave for doing so. Now, let my friends and I take care of the rest.
Please do. We miss our daddy and miss our dog, Penny.
I see.
One of
I see.
the younger kids is crying. Ugh.
It is okay, little one. We will try our best. You wait here with the shop owner. He will keep you safe while we go and deal with this.
They all nod, and the older one ushers them and says, "Thank you," and then goes to sit somewhere in the town square. And it's at this point the bartender comes out. He's like, "Okay, fair is fair. I said it. Hey, any of you puke yet? Any of you puke?"
Pay us.
He's looking
No,
under the
sir.
table. Okay.
I'm like
Well,
playing with the alcohol in my stomach.
Just, like, swishing
I'm
around.
just standing over the man, like, pay us.
all right. And he puts 15 silver coins on the table. Fair is fair. It's Harvest Festival. Thank you guys for trying out my brew. I will try harder next time.
I take my 5 coins and then I take 2 of them and I hand them back to him and I say, "Will you watch out for those children over there?"
Hey, chill. Oh, yeah, the Johansson kids. Yeah, I'll look after them.
All right. Much appreciated. There will be more from that if you take care of them when we come back.
Sure, yeah. I'll make sure that. Hey, you kids, come in here. We'll get some food for you. And he ushers them.
And before he starts going back inside, I
Yeah.
grab him by the shoulder and say, "No alcohol."
Ah, I'll give them regular food. Don't worry, no alcoholic food.
While he's
I
doing
look to him
this,
and-
I'm giving Peculiars his sack of silver plus my combined 12 silver. Yeah, drink me.
Oh well, yeah. I guess
Yeah.
fair is fair. So you have a ton of silver here, Peculiars.
I get
Now I'm
17
homeless.
silver.
Damn it.
Well, you have 17 silver.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold on to that.
Yeah, you just fill up a sack on your hip with silver.
Thanks, Aslog. I'm sure you'll outdrink me next time. And then I turn to the other guy that gave us the silver in the first place.
Bartender,
I say, yeah, you mentioned it's the Johansson's kids. Do you know this family?
Oh yeah, sure. They have the sheep farm edge of town to the east.
Anything you can tell us about? These kids are saying the farm got attacked. Is there anything we need to know?
Yeah, and you've noticed as you're saying this, like the kids have been ushered into the bar. They're presumably going to get some actual food
How many
in there.
kids?
The 3, like 6 or 7 to like the oldest age, and then it goes down from there. So there's like a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, 3-year-old.
Mhm.
And he says, "Yeah, well, it's the same problem that all of the farmers and shepherds have been saying. You know, they say that we got a problem with bandits. You know how it is." And when he says that, you do kind of know how it is. So this is him sort of reiterating stuff you've heard many times before. They go to the captain of the guard. Captain of the guard says, "Yeah, we'll try and look into it, but there's not really much they can do until they start making a real nuisance." You know, so as long as bandits don't steal too much, just take a sheep every once in a while, just take a few apples off the tree, you know, not much they're gonna do. It's the complaint of everybody around here, right?
Okay. It didn't sound like bandits though. They mentioned little green creatures.
Kids.
There's a little green creature with the bandits, I believe.
Well, yeah, I mean, the kids will make up stuff, you know. Maybe the bandits got a goblin or a troll of some kind that they're using to help with their raids. I wouldn't put them past them, but I don't know. I met a few bandits here from time to time. You know, they come to town, they admit what they've done. I'm just a bartender. I don't tell them none. And a couple guys stealing apples to survive out in the woods. He glances at Peculiars. I don't see nothing wrong with that kind of living.
I nod and turn towards Arishi.
Well, Aslog, Peculiars,
Hmm.
I have something for us to go do now. Peculiars, you're welcome to join if you'd like.
Wait, you want to go chase bandits?
Well, I think the stalls are mostly finished over here, so I don't want anything disturbing the peace with the festival coming right around the corner.
So we're chasing bandits to make sure that we can festival in peace.
Yes, because that's how we drink more.
Fair enough, boss. You said they got an ogre, troll, goblin. Do you know which? Bartender.
But B?
What green things live in this area?
Well, there's trolls that lurk in various places of the land. As you know, we haven't had an ogre sighting in, 2 years?
Most likely not an ogre. Trolls. I mean, I'm assuming I'm going off common lore. Is there like a bridge in this area or something that would draw a troll to this area?
Well, you are correct in thinking that trolls go to wet, damp locations. There are a few bridges,
Okay.
but trolls can often be found in the woods, in caves, in other like dark areas where they can hide.
There's also a creature that stole their dad and dog, but that could also just be the bandits doing. I'm just thinking because my character needs to prep potions going into an encounter, so I'm trying to think what I would need to prep for. So is there something I could roll so that while they do some RP and stuff, my character might be getting some more information on what we could potentially be going up against?
Yeah,
Maybe like
you could roll your
sightings in the area. Maybe if anyone else has interacted with the bandits or potentially other green creatures, so on and so forth.
How about you roll your gets more for magic?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a D8. D8 and a D6. Send it. I got a 5 and a 2. I'll take the 5.
Yeah, so you're thinking about it as this alcohol is just coursing through you, and it's the sort of thing where you also start to feel that maybe there's something in this cider that is supposed to generate some sort of effect. It's very weak and you can feel it, but it starts to get an effect in you. And it mostly just makes you start thinking about various things, like the fact that it's the story that you vaguely overheard that Adichie was having was that a green thing was being taken prisoner. It was screaming for help.
Oh.
There are bandits. They had a prisoner already, you're guessing.
Oh.
And they
only
took
half
a
paying
dog and a
attention.
dad. Yeah, well,
Okay.
you're very perceptive, not what your character is.
Yeah. I meant my
you
character
wrote that
was
he
only
is
half
a
paying-
listener.
Yeah, this is true. You're actually right. I fucked that
So
up.
as the magic is like reminding you of what you heard, you also feel like this tensing of your eyes in the sense that your vision is sharpening.
Okay, so bandits are primarily our problem. Okay. Adichie, do you have does Adichie have like a home base or tinker shop?
Oh, my tinker shop, which is just down the road,
Yes.
Okay.
which is doubles as my house. I live above, and the shop's below.
At that, I'm gonna. Oh, okay. Bye, Fred. I'm gonna head for. I'm gonna head for the tinker shop. Let them finish up what they're doing. I'm gonna go start preparing.
All right.
I'll just tell Adichie. I'll be like, I'll be at the shop.
So you're heading to the tinkerer's, or you're heading to your potion brewing station first, and then you're going to the tinkering shop?
That's a tough one. Yes.
Or okay.
Basically, I need to get all my stuff and then start prepping. I don't know if I would do that at my place or his, because I don't have a place. So I work at that lady's place, and I don't know if she's okay with me just doing my own thing there.
Yeah,
She is.
Okay, then I'll go to my place, prep there, meet him at the tinker shop.
In fact, she's encouraged you, the sorceress that runs this bar, to use the potions to benefit the town.
I'm kind of doing that.
Yeah.
So benefiting Adishi's goals.
Yeah.
Which is
he's
to
part
help
of
the
the
town.
town.
So.
yeah.
So that
festival.
brings us to the rest of you. Are you going to the shop? What is your plan of action here?
So yeah, I'm going to my shop to go and get some of my tinkering runes.
Yes, that's the
My means of attacking.
right. I would. You're collecting them?
No, like I think of it as kind of how like an artificer, kind of from an artificer sort of standpoint, but
Oh, like you're
like
drawing them and preparing them.
like I prepare them, and my runes are these. They start out as just like these little thrown like little capsules, but then they fold out into like these like circles that like
Oh,
are what generates the rune portal sort of thing.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, so you're
So
preparing
combining my
those.
tinkering and so my tinkering shop is where I like build new ones and then imbue them with like demonic magic and then test them out, and then the ones that I like I keep them, and then I kind of sort them to like use later on.
That makes sense.
There's a word for that. You're creating little objects and tinkered items that are enchanted. Is that the word I'm looking for with these runes?
Kind of, yeah. So they're imbued with my demonic magic sort of thing, yeah. So yeah,
Cool idea.
enchanted with demonic magic, yeah.
I like it. Cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peculiars, what are you doing in this time as you guys are preparing to head out? Are you following either
So-
party?
Yeah, I think I'll follow Aslog. When I leave my like hut, I'm pretty much like I don't plan on going back there for a while. Whenever I leave, I'm like prepared. It's the survivalist in me, so I'm kind of
Mhm.
always got my stuff with me.
Yeah. Makes sense. You've got your backpack, you've got your dog Apollo. You both trotting along.
Yeah,
You probably
I think I've got it all with me.
you probably get some lunch as you're doing all of these processes, and we'll speed forward here as you're doing your own things, preparing all of your equipment, maybe trying not to let your wild magic happen in town against your will. You've all probably merged at some point. Guessing outside of Adici's shop or in the bar, the sorceress's bar.
To an extent, we're gonna meet at Adishi's shop, but if Peculiars is coming with me, I'm gonna go to the place and start concocting a brew, and my goal is to create some kind of potion that will give me an edge against regular humans. An edge.
What kind of edge would you be looking for there?
Combat, potentially either like damage reduction or increased damage output.
All right.
One of those two would be preferred, but whatever comes up comes up. And I think when I go to mix these potions and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I'm gonna look to Peculiars and be like, you go with some of that crazy shit inside you. You might help me out.
I look down and the liquid from the alcohol is still kind of swirling in me.
Oh, I didn't
And
mean that. I meant your magic shit. not
Oh.
that inside you. But
I was
yeah.
like, well, maybe we could use this. And I like try to scoop it out from my stomach, and
I'm
then
gonna hold out
I'm gonna-
the two potions that I'm trying to create and see what. Basically, adding his crazy magic to these and seeing what comes out of it. Who knows? But because I'm a mutant, I'll probably survive drinking it. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
I'll look around to make sure like no one can see me about to like try and cast this, and then if no one's watching, I'll try.
Well, it's the sorceress's bar, and it's like lunch, so there's probably like one or two people here, but they're drunks.
Okay, yeah, I'll just go for it.
Go ahead and roll your wild magic for me. Your D10 and a D6 wild die.
All right. So D10 is 0 to 9, right?
Yes.
Okay.
With the 0 being 10.
My arms got tired.
Oh, okay, good. Because I got a 0.
Roll again.
Yeah, that's
and a
top
2.
number. Oh my god, he's exploding.
12. All right,
Oh,
12.
no, 0, and then a 2 on the 6.
Roll
I don't
the
know what
10.
the 6 is.
Oh, right.
The 10
Yeah,
is
you
a
roll your
wild die. Your wild die is just a bonus die you get. And so
the 6 is the wild die for stuff.
Is that what it
So I add it
That's
to the
what I meant.
0?
That's what I said.
You said that
No.
the 10 is a wild die.
So no. So you've got a 10 and you've got a D6, right? So you got a D10 and a D6. You roll both.
Yeah.
Say your D10 came up with a 1, but your wild die came up with a 4. You'd rather use the 4. So your wild die is just like a bonus die that could help out.
I see. So I just picked the higher number between
Yes.
the two.
And
Okay.
so you
And if
got
you
a
hit the
10,
max number, yeah.
so it explodes. So you get to roll your d10 again.
Man, I've crit twice. That's
so
crazy.
you get to. Oh,
20.
I thought
Oh
you were
my-
saying no. He's saying he did it before. I thought you were saying
Before,
you
like, I
just
got
did
the
it
8,
again.
and now I got a 10.
Yeah. So
So
go
I'll
ahead
roll
and roll
again.
your d10 again.
Not the 6 this time.
No, just
Just the D10. So you have a 10 plus.
It's 0.
No,
Another
wait.
10,
Crit
so
again.
plus.
Roll again.
I shit
20
you
and
not.
rolling.
No way. That's
Let's get a
20
30.
and rolling.
Yo,
2.
our OP character just
22.
critted 3 times.
All right. Time to roll on the wild magic results table.
Somebody.
Wait, are you gonna tell us what it is, or are we gonna find out when I drink these potions?
Well, so what happens is that
sorry, go ahead.
is
I thought you were
that
asking me.
he goes towards your drinks. You have 2 potions on the table. Let's just say you have 4 potions on the table to like get you a more round number of how many potions you should be brewing.
Okay.
Peculiars,
Yeah,
you
'cause 2
focus
isn't
on it
round.
for a while, and then you feel energy crackling through your fingers. And the overwhelming feeling you have is alcohol. Alcohol. So much alcohol. So much alcohol. Are you drunk? I feel like you're drunk. But you're like your arms move in like a rubber hose kind of way, like you're arcing with power, and then you step back. The drinks or the potions are very much imbued with your spirit. They glow a bright green.
All of them?
All of them.
So all 4 potentially could do the same thing? Or
They
would
are
do
infused
different
with his
things?
wild power.
Because I technically was brewing them up to do different things, but then I imbued his magic into them, so maybe they do different things? We'll find out when I drink them.
They all have the same theme, whatever,
Okay, cool.
despite whatever potions they are.
Alright, I'm writing down I got 4 wild magic potion things.
Oh, what are your potions that you were designing here? You like a strength one. There was damage resistance.
Yeah. Oh, so come up with 4. We'll go with the enhanced strength. We'll go with the damage resistance. We'll go up with maybe a quick think, like help me process stuff and like act faster.
Yeah, enhanced reactions.
Yeah, and then we'll go with let's go with a healing potion just in case.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have your potions and peculiars. Do you feel good about this?
Yeah, I think I see, like, after casting this, like, tingly sensation, the alcohol in me is just, like, it looks more violent. It's, like, going around quicker and...
Oh yeah, yeah. It's turbulent.
Yeah, and I just, like, I think it went well. Like,
Yeah, you fully feel like you channeled everything. It's just normally when you use your abilities, it has a visual effect. Like you shoot water out of your hands, you shoot lightning out of your hands, you shoot money out of your hands.
I think I'm just assuming it was water. Like something with water happened and maybe it just reacted with... I don't really understand potion making, so
that's fair.
There's just some reaction with whatever he did.
This is me walking over to the tinker shop.
Yeah, so you guys are heading over. You've got your potions. You've got your insecurity. Well, no, it's just me bringing insecurities. You've got your securities. And you guys make it over to Adici's shop. Adici, you finished up a good bundle of your attacks here, your different capsules to throw. You're feeling confident that you can trounce some bandits.
Yes.
Before.
Yeah, so you kind of see me. I have like a little, like a skeletonized sort of exo gauntlet sort of thing that has a little rune in the center of the palm. But other than that, I just have like a little like belt with like a bunch of little capsules all around it, like a little utility belt, sort of thing. They're kind of organized into like some of them have like a faint little purplish glow to them. Some of them have a faint greenish glow to them, and some of them have just this faint yellow glow to them. And I see the 2 approaching.
Yeah, you all see each other. Is the plan to stop and talk for a bit, or are you ready to march towards bandits?
All right. What is everybody's? Well, I know Aslog's propensity for violence. How about
I want to
you?
open up the door. What?
Oh,
Are you talking to me?
yes. Come in, Aslog. Come in.
Okay.
Like you're looking through the window,
Yeah.
narrating to yourself. I wonder what his are.
I'm at the door like I can see you.
They're coming into the room.
Oh, I'll step in.
Yes.
I'll stand by the door, guarding the door.
Come in. Come in, peculiars. Come into my shop.
Yeah, I brought a
I
friend.
followed.
Yeah. I turn the open sign to closed on my shop window. All right. Well, I know Aslog's propensity for violence, but how about yourself? What is your feelings towards fighting, peculiars?
I mean, I don't know how well you know me, but
I don't. That's why I'm
generally-
asking.
Yeah, I generally try to avoid fights because, well, historically, sometimes it doesn't go how I think it's gonna go, and sometimes I cause more problems than solves. But
I see.
I have a good heart. I mean, I want to help people, and
I'll smack
I'd
him
like
on
to
the
help this
back. And
farm.
I'll smack him on the back and be like, "You've got us watching your back now. You'll be all right."
Peculiars, your water. Does the hand like send you forward like you're like a thing filled with water and you just like water bed forward, or does it like go into you?
I think it just goes right through me. If you're just
Yeah.
a wet hand.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
I don't think
You don't have
got
to do that for
anything to worry
combat,
about.
but
Well,
yeah, I'm wearing like some sort of clothing, and it's just like dripping wet today.
Still got
Yeah.
alcohol on him.
And so like it doesn't go all the way through, but like you hit the clothing, and it's just like this wet cloth.
Yeah, full of
The
alcohol.
taste of alcohol.
He's like, that's not bad.
Actually, Oslog, you're very perceptive. It's like entirely as if your hand is soaking in vodka.
Okay.
Or like he's soaked in vodka and that now your hand is dripping with vodka. Yes, you can have a nice sip. But the thought crosses your mind, if you licked his shoulder. No, bury that thought.
I'm guarding the door, just kind of eyeing him.
But
well,
anyways, I would be happy to try and help you guys.
well, peculiars. I admire that heart of yours, but I do not wish to make you do anything that you do not want to. So, if anything feels off, nobody will think less of you for walking away.
Oh, he will.
He might.
Always seeing what he can do. No reason to walk away.
I'll do my best to help.
Well, he has
That-
confidence in you. Well, let's go and
I brought him onto your team. There's a reason for it. Trust me, you're gonna like this one.
all right. I trust you.
I shrug.
Well, let us get going before it gets too dark.
I'll open up the door and step out and kind of look both ways before crossing the road, and before letting my boss come out and get hit by a bird.
Yeah, well, there's a very slow wagon like coming towards you guys from out of town. It's like moving.
Boss, wait.
There's like an ox pulling it, and there's quite a few apples in the back of it.
I'm gonna go stand in
Not
front of
not
it.
an abnormal sight.
Stop,
You're gonna
ox.
stand. The ox stops with its horns just staring at you.
Thank you, ox. Boss, you can come out now.
Appreciate it, Aslog.
The guy looks. Can you get out of the way?
You wait.
Okay.
We walk out of the. I start walking out of the shop and start making my way east.
Making your
follow.
way east. And all three of you are heading towards adventure. And when were we wanting to wrap this up tonight?
We started a little
We
late, so it's up to you. I mean, technically, we've got a half hour left, so you can take the rest of that. Basically, what I did is I want to start this around 8:30 my time, whatever that is for you guys, 5:30 your time. and
Yeah.
then give it an hour, so it would end around 6:30 your time, 9:30
Yeah.
my time. But that gives us an extra half hour to kind of whatever we want. So if you've got an extra half hour of content, we can continue. If you want to wrap it up, we can finish off with maybe some Q&A and go into shout outs and stuff and wrap up. It's up to you. This is
Well,
your
maybe
time.
go like 15 minutes more with a short break so I can urinate. Just to get to a point where maybe you guys can have a strong opinion about me.
Sure.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah. Okay. Just quick break, and then we'll go a little bit further.
I'm
Sounds
not going
good.
to take a break because I have to run a show, but you can take
Okay,
a break.
well, I need to take a break, so
Okay.
I will be right back.
You do your thing. If anyone's sticking around, are you two sticking around? Or you guys got to step away for a minute.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
good.
Okay, what are you guys' thoughts on us running we'll talk about this. What are you guys' thoughts on us running a Pickles? We can hear you. Thanks. He's done it before. He goes to the bathroom, just pees on stream. What do you guys think about running a one shot during the TTRPG? The TTR. What am I talking about? During the Drinks and Discussions RPG podcast. Too many acronyms.
The dirty
I'm really
podcast.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like the simplicity of it, and it's just a fun, simple story. And for some reason, I'm rolling super high, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, you killed it today. 3
nice.
crits, like a
Jeez.
22, I think, is your roll out of a
2 is a high
D10.
roll.
You have a 1 to
Yeah.
a 1 to 10 chance, and you got a 22. Like, so they're like, pick a number between 1 and 10. You're like 22, and they're like, damn it. Like, that's great, man. That's awesome. Definitely killed it. You made a bunch of money. I owned it. I was like, yeah, you're killing it. I just gave you all my money. I was like, you outdrank me. You win it. I rolled the lowest out of all of us on that, and I thought I was gonna kill it. Pickles asked me before the session. I asked him earlier today. I was like, "Hey, is there anything I can help prep or anything I can do to help out before we get into this?" And he asked me, going into a harvest festival, what things would I compete in, like events and stuff. And I was like, I don't know that I would really compete. I'm more there to protect. I'm just a bodyguard, right? I'm there to protect my boss. But then I thought about it, I was like, maybe like a pie eating or something I'd get involved in, or like a drinking contest like I'd get involved in. And I thought about it, I was like, maybe even like axe throwing. Like I think I carry like a giant 2-handed axe that I just wield in like one hand or something. So I'd take that and just like hurl it and do like axe throwing. So it's like maybe those 3 events. Well, I went into a drinking contest and I lost immediately. I lost to both of you. I was like, well, never mind. I was just not.
Sometimes that's just a way to dice roll.
Yep. Yes.
Thematically, I imagine like while I'm a water genasi, I just dilute alcohol because
Oh,
there's so
no.
much water.
Yeah, Pickles,
like-
we know.
Oh no.
Continue.
Oh, no.
Continue.
No, that's it. Like I feel like that's why I was
Yeah.
able to drink so much.
I could see that. I like going off what you were talking about earlier. How do you play off your rolls? Like he got
Yeah.
really good and he beat me where I should have won that. He could be like, I'm water. I can drink everything because I'm just water. Like makes sense. Welcome back, Mr. Pickles. How was your piss?
It was very turbulent.
We know.
Yep, my bad.
I'd be
I could
concerned
hear
if it was laminar.
Well, we all strive for that.
That was
I-
aero engineer jokes.
God damn this microphone, though. I swear.
But welcome back.
There's times where literally, like, I'll walk away and it'll just switch to another microphone.
That is true. That happened
It's
last
like,
episode, I think, or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that one's at least garbage, but this one I pressed the button and it just like, you didn't press it right.
Yeah, you got up and walked away, and I started hearing stuff, and I was like, "Oh, Pickles, you're not muted." Oh, he's already gone. All right, continue on.
That's when you mute me for a minute.
Oh, my bad. I should have done that.
Oh no, so you all just listen to me piss?
Yeah. Well, we tried to talk over you. What's the dog doing?
What's the dog doing?
Anyways, welcome back. We're headed off on a venture.
Yes, just like I went on an adventure with myself there in the bathroom. And we're going off on an adventure into the forests of Happy Meadow, where, of course, there are meadows. I was a liar in the initial part of this. There are meadows. Every once in a while, you'll go through the forest, going up and down little hills, going through these woods, seeing various farms. There's apple orchards. There's areas where there's been obvious, like, lumberjacking where they've cleared out an area but they haven't really done anything with it yet. There are, man, you made the audience listen to me urinate. great.
That's
love
all
it,
you're
actually.
thinking about now.
I just love the idea that as you guys are walking down this fantasy wonderland path, as you see little pixies and spirits in the trees like dancing about having a good time, there's me in the middle of a field, nothing else, just me, obliterating with my urine.
I'm gonna laugh. It's even
A
better.
molehill.
Like, watch the YouTube just blow up and people actually see this.
I'm advertising.
Yeah. We're gonna be like 3 years down the road having games, and we'll be like, "Here's Mr. Pickles back to run another campaign." And they're like, "Isn't that the guy who pees on stream?"
Mr. Pistles.
So you pull an Eminem, you give yourself all the disses so that no one else can.
I leave my
Dissel.
own mic on. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, you guys are traveling down this road, and you're having a rather pleasant time of it. It's not a bad time to be traveling on the countryside. You see people from time to time. They wave to you. They're like harvesting their apples and whatnot. And to everybody but Peculiars, they're, well, actually, just to Adichie, they're probably familiar. You might have otherwise heard of them, but it's Adichie that's likely the most familiar. And after a while, you get to the farm of the Johansons, where they have, well, they're sheep, I guess. You can see all the sheep, you can see the hut, but it doesn't look like the hut is occupied at all. There's no like smoke coming from the stack. The front door is just agape, or ajar, if you will. And you can see blood smeared across the grass.
I'll
travel
put my
which direction?
Well, it's one of you guys to go.
What direction was the blood going?
It looks like smeared from the house towards the pasture. Pasture is fenced in. Oh, except for the gate, which is busted. The sheep don't seem interested in going past that.
I'm gonna put my friend. I'm gonna put my friend in front of Adichie. I'm gonna put my hand in front of Adichie, and you're safe, Peculiars. And I'm gonna put my hand in front of it and kind of point to the front door, and then I'll start moving towards the house, pulling my axe out. I think I had an axe.
Yeah, you have an axe.
Now I have an axe. I'm heading into the front door to go check it out, make sure it's safe.
Yeah, you're heading there. Go for it.
I grab one of my green glowing capsules and like ready it in my hand.
Absolutely. And how about you, Peculiars?
Kind of keep my distance behind them, and I'm gonna keep like while Aslog is focused on the
Thank you for remembering my name, friend. Thank you.
Oslog is secretly like player telepathic. When players are thinking out loud, he hears it in his head.
Thanks. I've had a lot of potions, but I'm really fucked up in here.
Yeah, as he kind of focuses on the like front door and where the blood is, like I'll kind of keep my eye elsewhere to make sure like nothing's moving around. Survival instincts there.
Yeah, go ahead, Tough Nuts, roll Survivalist. Adichie, go ahead and roll your Demon Pact, your D4, not your D8. And
My name's Oswald.
Okay, you guys aren't
Yes,
gonna
thank you.
believe me. Can you see this? You can't see it. Hold
Wow.
on.
I can see a beautiful bar.
Hold
Look
on.
at
I
that.
trust you. You have no reason to lie to me.
No way you crit.
We'll get to you in a second.
Way.
Oslog, roll Criminal Past.
Oswald. Which one?
Okay,
which one do
so-
you have as my criminal pass? That's my D10, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see it?
you and I
It's
wrote
an
it
8 and a 2. So I got an
see
8.
a beautiful bar.
An 8. That means well, that's your wild magic, or no, that's your survivalist. So roll again.
Okay.
10.
Of
so
6
I-
rolls, I've crit 4 times.
I got a 9. That's not bad. I'll take my 9.
We'll get to you guys in a second.
Oh,
Remember
and a
your
5.
rolls.
Shut up then.
5. Okay.
13.
13. Wow. Okay. And I'm rolling this by 4s. So a 4 is a basic success. An 8 is definitely a success, and a 12 is like woo dog. And above that is just okay. What kind of god are you? This is fantasy, I guess. So you're looking around, and you do pick up a very obvious location in the fencing down like distantly. It's a fairly wide pasture here. It's nestled in the woods, but you see a part of the fencing that is broken. Like somebody just like did a cocky like kick on it and just like busted down it. You could easily pass through there. The sheep could easily pass through there. They do not care to do so. As you're pondering this, let's go over to Adichie with your Demon Pact. How'd that go?
So I roll a d4 and a d6. Is that how that goes, or just
Correct.
the d4? Okay,
Both of them separately.
both of them separately. Okay, so I got a 3 on the d4 and a 6 on the d6.
Roll the d6 again.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys are just popping off.
That's a 2, so 8.
Yeah, so you get this strange sensation that your demon patron is trying to contact you, but it's very weak out here, and you're able to shut that down. All you pick up on is something that's just make them suffer. But it's just
It's like a whisper in the back of my head, like,
yep, done.
Yeah.
As in, like, no, you're done. I mean, not like you're like. I mean, you could sign up and make them suffer, but that's all you pick up. And then we get to Oslog. What was your roll?
I got a 9.
Criminal pass.
9 and a 4. I'll take the 9.
Okay. Yeah, you go up and you prop the door open with your two-handed axe.
Yeah, I have two-handed axe. Am I big enough to wield it in one hand?
Sure.
Sweet.
You've got a D10 as the muscle, so I figure as much. Yeah, so you can use it to like prop open the door. You can see that this is a very simple cottage. It's got like a few rooms, but nobody's home.
I imagine just going forward, my character probably wouldn't be like an investigator, like in Strange Town Golden Ridge. Shout out. He would be more a tracker hunter of prey. Like that's what he. I'm relating him a lot to Witcher, and I know that's not fair because that's not a series or again you're really familiar with. But basically, like I concoct my brews and I prep myself to fight a very specific enemy, and that's the enemy I'm trained. Like I hone myself in to track, prepare for, and all that. So in this case, I'm tracking these bandits. That's what I'm looking for. So when I go into this house, that's the things I'd be looking for. Like, are there current bandits here? Am I hearing signs of them? Or do I have an idea of where they went? I'm not so much looking for, okay, like, who would have lived here? How many people? Is anyone safe? Like, you know, their victims still in here? Like, that's not what I'd be personally looking for. Just reference for going forward.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, you could see that there's nobody here, and of course you saw the blood trail. It does seem like the work of bandits in your mind. This is not the case of like any magical happenings.
Perfect. I'll turn back around on the porch. Front stoop.
Sure.
Yeah, I turn around the front stoop. I'll spin my axe over to where the head of the axe is at the ground. Plant it on the ground, lean on it. I'll kind of nod to Adichie, showing that, like, we're good.
like we're clear.
We gotta come up with, like, a call sign or something. Because I keep doing, like, the we're good, we're clear thing. So, yeah, I'll flash them.
I'm thinking of it as like Geralt. It's just,
Yeah.
That's a method of communication.
Yeah, that's... I don't know. Something. We'll figure out something. But I give him whatever our call sign is to show that we're safe as I lean on my axe.
All right.
My job's done. I'm at this point, I'm going into sentry mode. I'm just guarding.
So
hey,
I'm going to.
Adichie.
Yes, what is it?
I point over to the fence that I see that's broken. Look over there. I think it looks like someone moved off in that direction.
I see. But why are the sheep still here?
Maybe they just know this is home and don't want to die out in the forest. I know better than most. The forest can be a dangerous place. I'm sure the sheep understand that too.
Why wouldn't bandits steal sheep, though? It's good money. Sell them.
Well, it seems they were more interested with stealing the farmer and his dog.
What value does a farmer have? Might
I
be
don't
more
know.
of this
Maybe
farmer
knowledge.
than we know.
Maybe they want
the
ransom.
story than we know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be ransom. Smart, see? Good thing I'll roll him. He's a smart one.
Yes, he's proving his worth by the minute. I would like to. I think Adichie is going to go over to the opening in the fence, but a little bit cautious of like what's of the opening there. It seems a little he's probably, he sees the blood, he sees the things, he sees that the sheep don't want to go through here. He's had one too many run-ins with a magical ward.
I'll throw
with
my
his
axe
demonic.
over I'm gonna throw my axe over my shoulder and join him. Like if he's moving off that way, I'll go, and if I see him like hesitant, I'll walk through.
I think
Hilliers,
he's
are you
gonna.
following as well?
Yeah. I think I'll generally follow, but I keep a little bit of distance.
I'll
Yeah.
probably keep an
Like,
eye
not right up
looking
front.
back every now and then just to make sure that he's still here. Because as much as I'm the protector, like I feel way safer with him with us. So I'm like, I don't really say that out loud, but I'm like continually looking over, like I'm protecting and making sure he's still there. But really, it's like you're still got my back, right? All right, cool. And yeah, moving up, I'll be standing behind Adishi, just probably axe slung over shoulder, you know. And if I see him like hesitant to go through this, I'll be like, and I'll walk through it.
Adichie, well, before he does that, I think Adichie is going to bend down, toss a rock through the gate opening. Just like a little pebble, just like toss it through the opening, see if anything happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you pick up a pebble from the field and toss it through. And one of the sheep looks at it, but it goes right through. And it just like lands in the dirt.
All
At that
right,
point, I'll walk through.
I guess I was too peculiar for nothing.
No, he's too peculiar for nothing.
Boom, tink.
Who are you, Gibbs? Inside joke. You'll understand when you're older, Pickles.
Okay. Weird.
And by that I mean in the future when you meet Dibs in King's Crossing.
Oh, right. Okay.
Shout out.
I understand what you mean now. Yeah, so you can see that there's a clear path that like somebody that cleared brush or moved branches a bit, and it's likely it's likely Peculiars that notices it first, but you all pick up that there is sort of like a disturbance in the pathway there. Somebody came, broke the fence, or broke the fence and went that way. Actually looks more likely.
Can I use Survivalist to recognize the like footprints or tracks?
Yes. Go ahead and roll that for me.
4.
A 4? A 4 is good. You can tell that there are tracks of multiple people. At least like 3 sets of tracks, maybe more.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let the guys know. Hey, I think at least 3 people have gone down this path. I can't really tell if there's been more.
I see. Well, then we have to be on our toes. They might outnumber us.
Am I able to tell from impressions and footpaths and whatnot if they are wearing any like heavy armor or dragging anything?
Well, I mean, now that it's been pointed out to you, you can go and all closely examine it. It's grass, first off. That's why it's impressive that somebody picked this up at all.
Okay.
And it does look like it's heavy enough that it's probably adult men, but probably not adult men dressed in metal armor. They may have been holding things, but it doesn't look like anybody was dragged.
Okay. Because from our original clues, there was a green creature that was being dragged along with them.
Yes.
So maybe we're not getting the full story.
But you know where they came from or went.
Yeah. I'll turn to Adishi and be like, oh, a group of people dragging 3 prisoners. I don't see any drag marks. Everyone who went this way went willingly.
I see. Well, that is good information. Maybe that green thing might not have been as helpless as we may think.
Along with farmer and dog. Other dog? Oh wait, it's grass. Never mind. Know that.
All right. Well, are we ready to continue on?
Stand back up. Hoist my axe over my shoulder. Lead on.
All right. Here we go. Eyes up.
And you fellows just blaze through this path. One of you really making a disturbance more than the other 2. But you guys go through this path in this forest, trekking through a bandit trail, I guess, and it takes you about an hour of just walking, marching, climbing up over stumps and fallen trees. Eventually, you start hearing something. In the background, you can hear, "Please, no, please, don't kill me! Please, anybody help!" And you can hear a lot of men laughing. Well, a lot of men. It's at least 3 or more. You can hear them laughing as if they're getting great amusement. This is probably a point where you might consider moving slowly, stealthily, to get a better viewpoint and try to ascertain the situation. And because you're heroes, I'm not going to make you roll stealth here as you get closer and as we're going to wrap up in the next minute or so that we can do a 10-minute power Q&A that's just rapid fire. You guys get close to the situation to see that there's a campfire set up with several adult men. They look like individuals who've been living in the woods. They've got leather armor on. Some of them got swords. Well, 2 guys. 2 guys have swords, and 1 guy is sitting next to a big old like burlap sack that's overflowing with apples. He doesn't appear to have any weapons on him. But over the campfire is what appears to be the corpse of a goblin roasting as if they're like cooking him to eat. And there's another goblin squealing very loudly, attached to a stake, like he's got rope wrapped around him and he's got a stake to hold him up. A spear stake, not like a meat stake. And he's the one squealing for anybody, imploring anybody to save this wretched, wrinkly, smallish, like, creature. He has no weapons.
No sign of a farmer and a dog.
You do see a dog actually also like staked up, like there's a chain around its neck it's a rope around its neck and it's tied to a pole and it's like held down. It looks very sympathetic and as if it's trying to make itself small, hence why it didn't really pop up in the initial description. No sign of an adult male farmer though. And that's what we're going to call it for tonight, in the anticipation that maybe next time you want to kick some ass.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And now to the Q&A, very rapid fire.
All
Is
right.
that how we end this?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. This is new. Anyone have any questions or anything to pop off? I haven't gotten anything in the chat specifically, so you guys got anything?
I pissed the chat away.
Pickles.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed
That was a lot of fun. That was a good one. I like that.
Thank you.
I like the idea. Yeah, we were talking about it while we were trying to talk over Mr. Pistols.
Thank you.
They like the simplicity.
That was my name.
They like the simplicity of it and just kind of being able to just kind of dive in and have some fun, and it's good. I like being able to play a different character personally.
I do like everybody's character. I just with this bullshit system, I'm just trying to remind myself like to make rules important, because as like a default, I take a lot of things as like if you're a good bartender, you shouldn't need to roll when we're in town. You're just bartending. I keep wanting to say bartending. Like that should just be a default. You're good at it because you have that skill, and it should only be rolled when it matters. But at the same time, we're here because we want to roll dice to an extent, and you know.
And
so
I would even tie this back into the beginning of the episode. So I am a bartender. Do I roll when I'm normally just bartending? Agreed. I'm here to roll dice.
Bartending.
Yeah. Am I saying that too?
Yeah, now you're doing it.
I'm here to roll dice at the end of the day. So I am perfectly okay having to roll dice to bartender river. And sorry, I meant to keep going, but even I threw myself off with that.
Yeah.
The idea here, going back to Adis's original point, when you roll and you fail or succeed, like how do you play off that in a way for your character? So even if, for instance, I'm a bartender and I'm bartending and I roll piss poor, all right,
Yeah.
I rolled it and that happened. How do I play that off? That's up to me as a player in my RP experience. Let me RP that. Maybe I spill my drink and it spills onto somebody and now I get to have an interaction with them. Like in that instance, say I'm doing that and Tough Nuts is there as Peculiars and I spill my drink on him. Like, what does that do? Is there already magic in it? Did that like erupt something? We get to RP that and find out. Like, yeah, it was a failed dice roll, but it gave us an opportunity that I wouldn't have had
definitely.
if I. So it does provide I mean, there's stuff you can do with it. Let us roll dice. I say just let it happen.
With
go
my
for it.
character, I think I'm gonna start telling you what my character's trying to do with magic.
Okay.
So that it's not completely random, and you can decide if that happens or not. So that's the randomness, I think.
I do have a D12 scale if you want to hear my scale of like what the things I have as options are, where we can like maybe then audit that.
Well, I think that
Yeah.
kind of goes in with what I was trying to do. Like, I told you what I'm trying to make my potions do,
Yeah.
but I'm adding in his wild magic, and so who knows what they're actually gonna do. And so I think taking that, but to more of an extreme level with him, I think that's a good idea.
Wait, I thought that you wanted a degree of randomness, so definitely
do.
what you want to do. But I also want it to be a comfortable level of randomness.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's one of
I
those.
think-
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think like in a normal system, it would be based off of the higher I roll, the higher chance that I actually succeed in what I'm trying to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I don't know that I'm necessarily saying that here. What I'm suggesting is I'll describe to you what my character's thinking, and you can completely decide, even if I roll high, like maybe the rolling high is just how well do I do magic. But you can still decide
Regardless
what
of
happens.
what that magic is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I roll low, then maybe I just suck at the magic and it's really unpowerful no matter what it is. But
So he still wants the randomness.
I want the randomness, but I'm gonna describe to give my character more of like player agency of like let's say characters are wearing metal. Like I might say I'm gonna try to imbue their metal with lightning so that it's like constantly shocking them or something. If that
Yeah.
happens or not, then who knows? Maybe I'll blow them up with fire instead by accident or something.
But okay, give it that. So maybe he rolls really high, so he's going to succeed at what he's doing. You roll random, and he shoots out fire instead. Instead of shocking them, he creates heat metal, a spell, which makes their metal heat up, and they're all like, ow, 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 and they're all getting burned by their own metal. It's not what you were trying to do, but it was successful.
Right.
But it was the random magic, so that's just an idea.
So like the success is the roll, the randomness, you can decide how it actually works.
Well, and your roll is also the degree of effect. Like you need a 4 to get across the finish line for most things. But
so your magic wouldn't fizzle out or blow up in your face.
But like once you get to that 20 level, it's like you can apply things like your spell doesn't even appear to the natural like eye. You can make things stealthy if that was your intention. Like because that was your intention from the beginning. You wanted it so people weren't seeing you casting magic. You ruled really, really well there. And so it was basically the only you two who were directly looking at it would have noticed.
Yeah.
A camera might have even like not picked that up properly.
Yeah, I think that works.
And then I rolled the effect. Of course, you can say what kind of effect you like, but I feel like I have a good random roll. I use a D12 for it. I don't know if you want to know behind the curtain what my options are for you.
I don't think I do.
You don't?
Yeah, I want to be
It's
surprised.
so funny though.
Well,
No, I'm
find
kidding.
out
There's only
when I go to
there's only
drink
like
my
3
potion,
funny ones.
We'll see what happens.
That might have been one of the funny ones.
I'm excited. What do you think about your character? Are you good with your character, Adis?
Oh yeah. So far, I think things are going well. I might need to. I think I might need to maybe have a off camera discussion with Pickles about how he wants to go about or maybe on camera. So how do we want to go about my demonic magics? Because
I'd like to hear that conversation, and I've got stuff I want to talk about Ozlog with Pickles as well. So, and that would be good for you guys to be a part of. So maybe next week
next week we kind of hash that stuff out before we jump into the session.
Pickles, you're able to show up maybe about a half hour before we dive into this personally. So maybe we can spend that half hour kind of discussing this.
Yeah. Well, after we wrap up the conversation that you guys are having, like at hand when I show up.
Yeah.
But
Pickles, do you have any questions for us after going through that?
Well, I mean, you guys seem to enjoy it. Tough Nuts, you are, as always, very hard to read. But I hope you all are enjoying.
We are.
No.
Have a
And
good time.
normally I mute my microphone properly. So
Pickles, if it puts your mind at rest, we couldn't actually hear you piss. Your
I
mic
couldn't.
spiked for like a second, like what's it called? Hot mic. Yeah, hot mic for a second, and that's how I knew you weren't muted. But then we didn't hear anything after that, and we just talked. If that puts your mind, yeah, we were just giving you shit. But no.
I feel like you're lying to me, but that's okay.
You can watch the VOD. I mean, I don't really edit, so you can watch the VOD, and you're gonna tell that there wasn't anything. So
well, I do hope that you guys enjoyed. And the goal is just to have fun and just enough rules that we can have fun. And if we want to continue this next week, we can kick some ass. The alternative is like, we don't need to continue my game each time we like show up. We could be like, hey, let's do Wrath's little side game. The point was to like mimic the Harmon Quest kind of. We could just pick this up, and that was my goal with the system. Is, oh, do you have your dice and your piece of paper? Okay, let's go.
yeah,
Let's continue.
That's where-
It's not that like detail intensive on my end for like. Just,
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. If we go to my game, I'm probably gonna run something in the King's Crossing world so that we can get like a different story of maybe something else. So like maybe you guys are playing characters in the Emerald Enclave, and so you as players get to learn something about the Emerald Enclave. What I'm most likely probably gonna do is use this system because I like it.
Yeah.
It's simple, and I mean, I don't want to have to boot up a whole Foundry thing and get you guys character creation because I mean that takes forever. This, I like it. Grab some dice, roll. Done. Like, I've got it. And it's easy. So I think what I'm probably going to do, if Pickles is allowing this, I'm going to piggyback off your system and just apply it to my setting in a side quest game.
yeah, if you want Savage Pickles.
Savage Pickles.
Savage Pickles. I honestly do have to give kudos where kudos are due. This system was very, very easy to pick up. It was very well done, well thought out, I should say.
Well, you should check
So
out...
it's nice to not have to worry about it.
You should check out Strange Town of Golden Ridge, where we get to play with this system.
Well, okay,
Oh.
Savage Worlds is a bit more detail oriented and has a lot more rules. This is a bastardization, as I said. It's very simple. It's just for it's beer and pretzels, I think I called it.
I have
He's trying to get you more players for your game.
I've heard rumors that we're hoping, or that someone is hoping that getting more people to play under specific DMs will get them to like that DM and maybe want to play in more of that DM's games in the future. So I'm just putting it out there that if you guys like this, you might like other things that this DM does.
Mm-hmm.
No, you won't actually.
All
This is
right.
completely different from my normal writing style.
That is
Please.
true. I can't argue.
Yeah,
with that.
like
That
come
is
on.
very true.
This is carefree. It's a Monday night for me.
Well,
I'm like
I mean-
I just want to hang out with my buddies and make up a silly like let's keep it real, but also we're chugging potions.
Besides the last episode where I spent half the game going, "Oh my god, what is happening?" Besides that, like, I mean, I went to the bar and like robbed a casino, and like, you know, I hung out with my dog and went and got coffee and talked to some lady who barks at me on the phone. So I mean, there's plenty of, you know, let's just hang out.
Then you went to a squirrel bar.
Yeah, then the squirrels. I don't want to talk about the squirrels. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast, the Dirty mini series as well included. Huge shout out to the players, Fred as well, everyone who joined. You guys make the show what it is, so thank you. Pickles and I were talking about this. Going into this episode, I was sitting in the room by myself for like a half hour, and Pickles even messaged me. He goes, "If no one shows up, I'm gonna cry." I was like, "I'm gonna cry." I was like,
No. I said I would laugh first because that makes so much sense, and then I would cry for a little bit, and then we'd play Raft.
Thankfully, you guys showed up because that's gonna make us have an episode. So thank you, I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Huge shout out to these guys. Check them out on all the things. Drinks and Discussions, Strange Town of Golden Ridge, King's Crossing, Baldur's Gate 3, Minds of Fendelver, which we discuss here on Drinks and Discussions. Raft. We got all kinds of stuff going down. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the Twitch channel. Just do all the things, donate all the money, buy us booze, and give us butt pats, and we'll be happy. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll see you in the next one. Later.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
No, say it, Pickles.
Hold on. What?
You have
Oh,
to
cheers.
No, you have to say the other thing. Your closing line. Your
And I
catchphrase.
took that personally. What's the problem with that dingo? Oh my goodness, California.
You usually say I love you to everyone. I don't know.
Oh, right. Yeah, I love you.